Everybody for attending today's council meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Glavin. Second by Mr. Nail. Any discussion? All in favor of suspending the rules? That's a 7-0 vote for the clerk. Thank you. If the clerk would read the revisions to the agenda, please.
To the routine agenda, we're substituting the routine resolution.
All right, substituting the routine resolution. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended,
So moved.
the agenda as amended. A motion by Mr. Glavin. Second by Mr. Nail. Any discussion?
I need my fan.
All in favor? All right, that's approved on a 7-0 vote for the clerk. Thank you. All right, at this time, I would like to, before we get to the mayor's report, I'd like to welcome those students and teachers from Biloxi High School sitting in the front on your right side of the room. The teachers are Mrs. Jessica Blair, the hospitality and tourism teacher, and Mrs. Sherry Allen, the business marketing and finance teacher. These students are from the Distributive Education Clubs of America, commonly known as DECA, and they are in the classes of hospitality and tourism and also business marketing and finance. Thank you for being with us today. All right, and thank everyone else who's visiting today. That being said, we'll move to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did shock them a little bit. Keep your speeches under 5 minutes, right? Well, I told them I was just kidding. But welcome everyone today. It's a great pleasure to see everyone here today. And before I got on a train this morning at 7:48 and celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the Mardi Gras line, and rode to Bay St. Louis and back on the train. Well, we didn't get back on the train. We were a little bit late, but so we're in the car. But it's a great success. I think they had anticipated maybe 100,000 people, where they crossed that mark about 4 months ago. So in 8 months, they hit over 100,000, and I think right now it's about 151,000 riders, and from Gulfport, from Bill all the way to New Orleans. So it's a great success. In investigating some other things regarding stops and making it even more successful. But Biloxi is I think, the spot where we have the riders coming pretty much daily. In football season, going to and from Saints game, it really is a success. At this point, I'd like to ask Liliana Jeanette from the SBA to come in and give us some assistance information. Thank you, Liliana.
Good afternoon, members of the City Council. Good afternoon, Mayor, everybody in the room. I am honored to be here today to, give you valid information of what the Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience, it's here to assist everybody that was affected by Tropical Storm Arthur. We have opened 2 business recovery centers, one in Harrison County at the Hansborough Community Center in Gulfport this past Saturday. The hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. And we've already assisted more than 20 people at the center. We are going to be present at all the FEMA disaster recovery centers that are going to be open. One is opening today here, actually 2 in Harrison County, and we're going to staff all the centers that FEMA is opening. We are working hand in hand with FEMA at this disaster recovery. But SBA is offering disaster recovery loans. So these are loans that are going to be long-term, very low interest rate with up to $2 million for businesses and private nonprofit organizations, after $500,000 for homeowners that they've lost in this, disaster. And more information to come, it's going to be posted on the city website, on Facebook, and also the county EMA has all this information available. I just wanted to not overextend my time. But, you know, definitely I'm here to just give you good news of what's available and open to any questions.
Any questions from the council? Thank you for being here today and speaking today. We appreciate your support and that of the agency that you work for.
Along those lines, I think FEMA will be available at the Snyder Center beginning tomorrow and for weeks. So I think for weeks, we'll at least have opportunity to investigate every avenue of, you know, things that can help people recover and be resilient.
That's
Lily,
right, Mayor.
thank you so much, and you call us if we can help in any way, okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
A couple of more things. Biloxi Police Department is inviting vendors and service providers to take part in the Biloxi Department Annual Festival Against Crime, set for Saturday, September 12th, from 11 to 2 p.m. at Point Cadet Plaza. And I think the vendor deadline is August 31st, right? Okay. Another little fun note regarding things, WXXV has a segment from 6 to 8 in the mornings, and tune in Thursday to see what it takes to become a lifeguard, okay? So that's sort of an inside joke, but anyway. But on a more serious note, Carrie, if we worked out our little technical challenges, I've got a couple of comments to make on an agenda item for consideration. Gary, I'm ready. Nobody wants to hear that taxes going up. Believe me, I'm saying that. We all do. But we want to explain why this has become necessary. Many of the expenses we're paying today come as a result of the pandemic, and the city's paid many years before. Everything costs more money today. That's true for you and your family. That's true for the city of Biloxi. The money coming in has grown some, but our costs, like everyone else's, have grown so much faster. It's been more than 25 years since Biloxi increased its millage. Most of our budget goes to keeping Biloxi safe, clean, and running every day. See how running? Unfortunately, Biloxi doesn't keep all our casino money generated here. They don't fill this gap in our budget. We're asking for 3 bills. On a $200,000 home, that's about $5 per month. Nobody wants to pay for it. Neither do I. But we believe this is what Biloxi needs to move forward. All right, thank you. And a lot of folks will hear that message many more times before the October implementation, if it's approved. And there'll be plenty of comments. And again, today on your agenda item is to advertise and invite people who had any questions or any ideas regarding what we need to do to move forward to fill this gap between inflation when it comes to revenues. As I said, it's grown, but not grown at the rate of expenses. Right there, see, everybody asks, where does the casino money go? And I think I could read that without glasses. But bottom line, as I said in the earlier spreadsheet, or the earlier post, in Biloxi, these are the 8 casinos in Biloxi in FY 2025, which ended, 9/30/2025. The casinos paid on gross gaming revenue $138,204,088.81, whatever that is. Okay. To the state of Mississippi went the biggest portion of it, 88 million. What is it? I better put my glasses on. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Out of the $133 million, 88 million went to the state of Mississippi. Of that big pie, 24 million came to the city of Biloxi to run its business. That's grown a little bit over the last 3 years, but not at the rate of inflation of 24%. The other pieces of the pie, $10,251,538 went to the county, Harrison County, to Biloxi Public Schools, $7,049,236, and to the rest of Harrison County schools, Gulfport, Long Beach, Bears Christian, Harrison County went 3.524 million. So that's where it goes. And that's, as I said, it's grown, and we're, better than we were last year and better than the year before that. But, so has the rate of inflation, and the conservative outlook is about 25% over that course of time is what expenses have grown. That means, you need to fill the gap. We have examined a lot of things in the council over a number of workshops. I believe there's been 5 or 6 workshops when it comes to the budget. And we've cut just about everything we could cut without harming the services that are needed to keep Biloxi, like I said, safe, friendly, and running. So it's with, as you say, as I said, if you don't handle a problem, it's going to handle you. Now, not that we're broke, it's not that we don't pay, because we are a AA- credit rating, the only city in the state of Mississippi with that credit rating. Part of that whole consideration is how do you address reserves and emergencies. To be considered a AA- credit rating, you need to have at least in unrestricted cash about 20% of your 15 to 25% of your revenue. Okay, our revenue on an annual basis is about 75 million, 76 million, roundabout. We need about 15 million in cash. So, over the course of years, we've whittled that down a little bit in anticipation of growth in tax, and ad valorem taxes, that's what you pay on your real property, as well as services like sales tax and, of course, gaming tax. And again, the numbers are the numbers. They don't lie to anyone. But in order to protect, not, as I said, not that we're broke, or not that we couldn't sustain the gap that's that we find ourselves in now between revenues and expenses, is that we need, in a long play of the thing, a way to make sure that we can immediately protect and cover over a 5-year scope or a 5-year plan, that reserve and that keeps us in the great financial shape that we're in, or the great financial Moody's rating that we're in. I think the next slide would tell you a little bit about where we are with regard to other cities. Okay, as I said, the millage has stayed the same from our side. The city, a person in Biloxi right at this moment, without this 3 mills, would be 111.77 mils. That's but 30 mills right now goes to the city. 45.25 goes to the Biloxi City Schools, and to the county, 36.42. Okay, and you can see that you pay more to the county than you pay to the city if you're a taxpayer in Biloxi. So what's on the table, if a 3 mil is approved, and hopefully that can translate to something that everyone can understand, down at the bottom of the screen, if you have your tax statement, and there's a place called true value, and then there's an assessed value. But if you had a house that's listed, not an appraisal, but what's listed on your tax on your tax statement, $200,000, a 3 mil increase, you would be paying now $602 a year to the city, and that would go up by $60. That's roughly about $5 a month, or 16 cents per day. And that's, you can see that we're significantly, lower than most at this point in time as far as millages and what it costs for you to own a house and to support the schools and the counties in Harrison County. So if there's any questions on my report from the council, I'm happy to try and answer that.
Any questions from the council?
It'll be coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
But, and we're doing the motion for consideration. I'm happy to answer those questions too.
Okay.
And that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, we'll move to the departmental reports. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, sir. First, I'd like to have a few brief comments by Ms. Labata and be followed by Mr. Creel doing kind of an economic outlay of what we've done this last year.
I'm going to give y'all a couple quick updates on some ditch work that we have coming up with the county. I know a lot of y'all have been asking about us coordinating with the county, and we've been trying to kind of get together with them. We've been having a lot of conversations back and forth, and we actually have some stuff in Wool Market coming up next week. We're meeting on Monday afternoon to go walk the ditches on Wool Market Road, the Albert Husley ditch that we talk about, and the old Highway 67, Sally Smith, that major flooding issue that's there. The county's also going to go look at that with us and see if they can help do some work. There are a couple other little small ditches like the Lick Skillet ditch and things like that are still on our list. We're going to work with them to kind of go in and catch up some of those. We're trying to get the big ones first. While I'm here, I was going to give a quick update on Bay Vista because I know I get a lot of questions from all of y'all on that project. We finally were able to, we found the very last unknown connection to the old system. We're trying to isolate the old system so we can flow fill it. We're down to the very last connection. It's an 8-inch line. They're retying that back in. Then they'll start flow filling, and asphalt and sod will be coming shortly. So that's an update on that.
Christy, is that at the MacArthur?
I don't know I think so. I think
Okay.
so.
They've been doing a lot of work at that
It's
intersection,
one
so
that
I'm thinking
connects
we're
back
right
to
there in
River
that
Place,
area.
so I'm
Yeah.
thinking that's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
I just got that update right before I came here, so I don't know the exact details, but I'm thinking that's the one.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Any questions from the council? Nope. There being none, okay, Mr. Creel, you're up. You can if there's, yeah.
Okay. Is it working? It's working? Okay. Thank you, council. The mayor and chief administrative officer had asked me to just give you all a brief update on development that's going on in the city. There have been some concerns that a lot of the development we had is single-family residential, and that's true. We do, but we have a lot more commercial going on. I just didn't know if you were aware of it, so I'm going to go ahead and run through this real quick, and then if you have questions, you can ask me about it. Commercial, now, let me just state, this is not a complete list. This is just a list of some of the major projects we've got going on, and we have others that are happening and others that we're in discussion with. Right now, we have the new Cybertech building in front of Keesler going in. We have the new upper elementary school, Pops Ferry and Motzi. We have the new Thomaston Medical Complex. We just issued the first permit for the building there in front. That was $3 million for that building. We have the Home 2 Suites on Beach Boulevard next to the Waffle House. It's finally coming out of the ground. Hammered Harry's Arcade, which is in the former Margaritaville location down at the Point. The Sharkheads building in downtown. The Art building at Howard Avenue and Raynor Street. The Magnolia Hotel just pulled a $1 million permit to do an expansion there. Cristiano Boardwalk on Beach Boulevard, expansion to Shaggy's on the beach, Boys and Girls Club renovations, Bay Breeze Townhomes, which is in Ward 1, the retail, multi-tenant retail space at Pops Ferry and Indian Drive, convenience store at Pops Ferry and Jam Lane. They're winding down on the Chick-fil-A on Pass Road. And we just issued a permit for a new acupuncture clinic on Beauvoir. All of those together total over $200 million in new development. So as you can see, we've got a lot of commercial projects. Now, in addition to that, we have some projects that have been approved by the DRC, and we're just basically waiting on building plans to be submitted so that we can review those. A Residence Inn by Marriott on the west end of town near DeBees Road, a Townhome Suites in Fairfield Inn on Cedar Lake Road, a new Comfort Inn and Suites on Beach Boulevard. Back Bay Storage is doing a double expansion back here on the bay. We're looking at a new treatment center on Reese Bergeron Road, a panel home fabrication center to go in behind where they're building the new school on Pops Ferry Road. That'll be coming forward for the Planning Commission and City Council. 2 new dental clinics and 3 convenience stores. There are a number of other projects that we're under discussion with, but not ready to be released yet, but we will. Apartment complexes, just to show you that we've got balanced development coming to town. We have the Retreat complex at Cedar Lake and Brody Road, Indian Drive. The current apartments, which are winding down, which are next to the Ocean Club condominiums. Briarfield Apartments on Briarfield Avenue, and apartment complex on Benaki. Single-family subdivisions. We have the Preserve on Shriners Boulevard, that's 209 lots. The Kingley Ridge subdivision on Pops Ferry, which is 219 single-family lots and 2 commercial lots. The Bellevue subdivision and Hidden Springs, which we have one of those projects, one of those subdivisions on the agenda today for final approval to move forward. But this is going to be the first of 200 lots that they're getting ready to finalize. Crystal Bay subdivision on Brody Road, 71 lots. Work continues in Savannah Estates. Baycrest subdivision on Wells Drive, the Beauvoir Villas, Basin Road subdivision, Avery Bay subdivision, the cottages at Moffett Road, Hawk Creek, Holly Street Housing, and the Reserve at Marsh Landing. Since Hurricane Katrina, we have issued over 2,900 permits for new single-family construction, and that's the valuation of those is over $550 million for that. We have, one of the questions about single-family subdivisions and single-family houses, and we've heard this a million times, rooftops bring commercial development, and the more rooftops we have, the more we can recruit and attract commercial development. So yes, we do work on that, but we're also working on a lot of commercial development too. In addition to that, our sales tax revenues just had the 64th month in a row where we've topped $1 million and averaged $1.25 million, and gaming revenues seem to be doing well too. So all of the economic indicators that we have are moving in the right direction. And we're going to have some other major announcements to make probably within the next month or so about development down in this area. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Weaver. All right, that brings us to the council reports, and we'll start this afternoon with Ward 6. Mr. Glavin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think there's one topic that I've been giving a lot of thought to preparing for this meeting today, and this is regarding the mayor's proposal on today's agenda to advertise for a 3 mil tax increase. I want to make my position clear to my fellow colleagues on the council, to the residents of Ward 6, to the citizens of Biloxi. I've always firmly resisted increases to ad valorem taxes. My philosophy has not changed. Raising taxes must absolutely be a last resort, because our priority should always be keeping hard-earned taxpayers' money in their pocket. However, given our current structural demands, we must face the reality that a last resort scenario may be upon us. While I will vote to advertise this proposal to ensure full public transparency, my ultimate support for any final increase has conditions. These are strict conditions if I'm going to vote for a final increase. First, I will only consider voting for a property tax increase if the administration can conclusively prove that even with this change, Biloxi property taxes will remain among the lowest or the lowest, the absolute lowest, which that's where they've been. Second, if we are going to ask our taxpayers to contribute an additional 3 mils, those funds cannot vanish into a general fund. I will demand that this revenue be strictly allocated and locked in for a specific purpose, such as strengthening our public safety and our fire capacities. Our taxpayers deserve to know exactly what they were paying for, and they deserve the assurance that we will remain a safe and low-tax city. And this is the topic I think that I've focused on for this meeting, and with that I have no other topics in my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Mr. Shoemaker in Ward 7.
Yes, sir, just one thing. Director Labata, just Woodland Hills Drive, you know, you and I have spoke about it several times. There's a lot of issues with the pavement and the roads deteriorating. And on the 21st of July, I put in a request for just some issues there, some potholes and the roads taller on one section, lower like a belly on the other section. Cars are scraping when they're passing by. I checked on that on the 30th and was told that they had never received my original request on the 21st. So I submitted it again on the 30th. And I've been inundated with calls, a lot of them, not nice calls. And I rode by there today and nothing's been done there in this specific area that I had requested. I asked for an update and I haven't gotten that back yet from B-Connect. But can you please, if you don't mind, check on that? And there are multiple. If you ride down Woodland Hills, anybody can see the conditions of the road. Do I need to put in specific individual?
No,
Okay.
we'll go
Okay.
provide it. Thank you for
And
letting
you
me
will,
know
okay, yeah, please,
that
if you'll,
you're back from Beacon.
yeah, please, yeah. And it's not your issue in Public Works. It may be a disconnect somewhere with B-Connect, but it's continuous. So if you don't mind checking on that as soon as you can, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. Gray in Ward 1.
Thank you. First, I want to welcome Madam President, Mrs. Payton Campbell, and the DACA community, the DACA Council for coming in. And we need leadership like y'all in the future. So hopefully y'all get something out of this council meeting that y'all can carry on throughout the rest of y'all's career in school and move on. Jerry Krill, question for you. What is the cost for the city to pay for the people not cutting their grass on their property?
It's not a set price. You know, we go out and get quotes whenever that comes in. So depending on the size of the property, depending on the amount of labor that's going to be involved, if it's just cutting grass, we usually take 3 or 4 contractors out there with us, and we get bids on it. And then there's a $215 fee on top of that that's for administrative.
Okay, let me rephrase that. What do we normally pay a year in assessed taxes? That we have to assess taxes for overgrown grass that we have to send somebody out there, and that's with our fees. Just round about what you think maybe.
It's different. I can tell you probably, well, in the budgets we typically budget anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000, and we usually run out of money toward the end of the budget year.
So people are using us to be their lawn service.
Yeah.
I want to charge you into looking into increasing the fees, if there's any way we can do that. Because if we increase the fees, maybe they'll start cutting their own property, and we won't have to go and send them letters and tie up our court system for them not wanting to cut their grass. And this one is for all of the directors. Everybody on, let's say, social media is wanting y'all to cut y'all's budget more than we already cut it, $10 million. Is there any way you can cut it any more? This is them asking, how come y'all can't cut it more? So y'all want to answer that and let them know why you can't cut it no more than what it is? Because by then, I mean, we already know. Y'all done cut it as low as y'all can cut it without laying people off.
I can just tell you that with what I've got left out of the sections of the budget that we have any flexibility on, I will not be able to make it through the year with $168,000 to make it through the whole year. You know, when I talked to you about budget, I told you there's some things that we can't cut, like gasoline and electricity and those kind of things that are just hard cost. But on the soft cost, I'm going to be left with a little over $168,000. Can we cut it to zero? Yeah. We'd basically come to work, we'd have our jobs, and we'd have office supplies, maybe, but that's about it.
Right. I mean, I know y'all done cut it so much. We've already talked about that. We already know that. But this is the people, the citizens, and some of the citizens and the people on social media want to know how y'all should cut it a lot more. But we can't run a city off of nothing. And we know that, and that's kind of why we're looking at this tax increase
I can
to try
tell
to
you,
help.
Based on what I heard and what I experienced, there is no fluff in this budget at all. I think the directors will agree with that we're all in the same boat here.
Right. Okay. Like I said, I just want the people to hear that out of y'all, let y'all say that for y'allself. And another issue I have, there's low morale across all the departments. We need to find a way to improve that. I don't know how or what we can do, but just listening to people, there's low morale. We got to figure a way to improve that, to get things done. And the second is we have to figure out a way to get the city clean. My problem is how many city employees ride by and see debris or see something that they can actually stop and throw in their truck. Fine example, right across the railroad tracks from Public Works. There's a piece of broken curve been on the sidewalk for, I don't know, over a week. AT&T building, there's a pile of concrete sitting out there, a couple pieces of concrete that's been sitting there for a couple weeks. Frank Wood Center, as soon as you turn in the parking lot, there's a broken palm tree limb that's been there, and another limb on the east side that's been there since the last time Mr. Marshall had his senior citizen luncheon. We have to look at, the employees have to look at trying to help clean up little things like that. Stop and throwing the limb in the back of the truck will go a long way, where we don't have to call in about this, or they see something and they call to be connect. I mean, this is things that we have to look at. St. Charles sidewalk, got pictures today, 2 foot tall. The sidewalk is covered. You can't even walk down the sidewalk. Do we have supervisors riding around looking at this kind of stuff? The directors can't be everywhere at one time. I know that. This is not what I'm trying to say. Supervisors and other people have to take the initiative to turn stuff in, to try to get the city looking the way the city should. We need to find a beautification division where we can spend out, instead of spending trimming trees and cutting grass on other people's property, we have plenty of our own that needs to be cut. You can ride down any street, Howard Avenue, Oak Street. I mean, I can just ride around and see grass growing up through the sidewalks that need to be cut, things that need to be trimmed. We have no beautification at all. The people come in the city, we should be a welcome city. Welcome, when they come in here, they should feel welcome, not high grass. So we have to look at that. This is the main reason why me and Councilman Marshall are working hard to create a vacation district from Porter Avenue to Point Cadet, where we can run, where we have, and this can be a trial run for all the other parts of the city, where we can look at doing a district here, we can look at doing one in Woolmarket, West Biloxi, where the district can go in there and beautify everything and make it a welcome city. We hear now that the city is looking at having issues. This is the way we can hopefully have a nonprofit come in and help fund this to beautify the city. We have to do something. What we're doing is not working. We got to change it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gray, Mr. Marshall, and Ward 2.
All right. Ms. Labate.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're looking for money. Right now, the budget is tight. The mayor's already declared we're not broke. Okay? I'm getting complaints about the grass not being cut. I'm getting complaints about he just listed a whole bunch of projects, things that are just not being done, that falls right up under your job. Okay? Last year, we cut your budget, gave you less money. Were you able to operate fully and do your job, which is still now? Or did it hurt you?
I am not able to perform all the tasks that we have been able to in the past with the current budget.
Okay, so next year, with the new budget, it's going to be we're cutting you even more. Okay, if you couldn't do it last year, we're going to cut you even more, which means that the complaints that he just listed are going to be expounded upon, worse, and not anywhere near better. Okay? All right. Fire chief.
Yes, sir.
Are you cutting your budget? I need money. I need you to cut it more. Have you cut it already?
Yes, sir.
If we cut it any more, would you be able to do your job?
Yes, sir.
So can we cut it some more then? Is that going to help your morale of your department? Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi needs to know, what else can you give up? Did you give up money last year?
Yes, sir.
You going to give us some more this year?
Yes, sir.
Is that helping the city or hurting the city?
It's definitely not hurting. I mean, not helping, I would say that. But it's the employees that we are more concerned about at this point. You know,
You can run it by yourself though, can you?
as far as their,
You can do the fire department by yourself. You're a good man. How long you been doing this?
for quite a few years, sir.
Can you run it by yourself?
No, sir.
Okay. Next in line, Mr. Creel. Did I just imagine you say you cut everything you can cut? You down to the point where you almost can't function?
Yes, sir. Anything we cut anymore, we cut.
Did we cut you last year? We're gonna cut you again now. We're gonna cut you even more this year, look like to me. Okay? Parks and Recreation. Nobody else putting up any money on this table. Are you putting some money on this table? Did we cut you last year?
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna cut you again this year.
Yes, sir.
So in other words, last year we had all kind of park complaints. Every person that has a park in their ward has gotten complaints about what needs to be done, and you have not been able to do it because of financial reasons. Is that correct?
Among others, yes, sir.
Okay, so this year it's been bad. Next year is even worse. Am I heading in the right direction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chief of Police, we cut $1.8 million just off the top on your department last year.
Yes, sir.
This year, we asked you not to cut anything, did we? Or did you cut something? Or how that worked out?
We cut.
You cut? Yes, sir. How much you cut?
We're about 2.4, 2.5.
$1 million.
Yes.
So that's, in other words, we're cutting you to the point of any more cuts, are you going to be able to function?
Yes, however, we're going to have to give up a lot of the service that we are currently offering, such as events, training, and...
Wait, go back. Events?
Yes, sir.
We're tourism.
Yes, sir.
So in other words, you're saying that we can't do tourism?
Because it comes from overtime.
Yeah. Okay, which of the five of you is responsible for developing this city, and bringing this city up, and bringing the money into this city? Which of the five of you was voted to do that? The city voted on which one of you? Raise your hand. I don't see any hands. Who was voted on? Who was elected to do that? Who was elected by Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi? Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's not your job, in other words, to do that. It falls on one person in this room. If we all just close our eyes and we imagine, picture in your face the person in this room who's responsible for that. Don't say the name out. Don't say the name out. I bet you we all got the same person in our mind. So let's not sit here and play like it's belongs. This is Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi's problem. It's not Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi's problem. We are the only city in this region with 8 of the prime casinos pushing money into our coffers. We start out $20+ million ahead. No other city can say that in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and I'm going to take it all the way over to Texas. No matter what we do, we are guaranteed $20+ million to start our budget off every year plus. It's going strong. We are the 6th greatest gaming market in the United States. Why are we coming to you, asking you for money, when Gulfport don't have the $23 million hedge that we got? Make it make sense. Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi, you pay your taxes. You do what you're supposed to do. Now we're telling you, if you don't give us more money, we're not going to cut your grasses on your parks anymore. We're not going to give you new playground equipment anymore. We got a president of our city council was on TV saying we don't have money to pay roads. You're paying your money, where the money going? We can show all kind of diagrams. The bottom line, it was one person, don't call no names out, elected to solve the problem. Why is there a problem? We're watching D'Iberville run circles around us, cutting their grass, fixing their parks, and keeping on moving. It's not these people's fault at this table right here. It's not their fault. They can't spend the money if the money's not there. But you can't ask someone to continue to cut. What does a cut mean? A cut means you don't get your service that you paid for. If you go out to McDonald's and you pay for a Big Mac and they cut the bread, but they still charging you the same amount of money, that's not a cut, that's cheating. If you go out to the steakhouse and you order your 16-ounce steak and it comes back and it's only 8 ounces, that's not cutting back, that's cheating. No. The answer is going to be no. Give me a solution to say where the money going and how it's going to be spent. Before we write out a blank check, I'm for very clearly making it make sense. Where is that money going? How is it being spent? And with that, Mr. President, I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Mr. Nail in Ward 3.
All right, I guess I'm gonna have to try to follow that a little bit. And I got good news though. Hill Park's probably the best it's ever looked in a long time. There's guys out there right now cutting down by the water. I went out there this morning with Jamie, and the Hill Park bathrooms are starting to perk up a little bit. I think we'll have them operating pretty soon. And the bridge is completed at Hill Park. You can drive across it smoothly now. And Pass Road, I hate to say it, it's the best it's looked in a long time. So everything in my ward is starting to look pretty good. So that's yield my.
Thank you, Mr. Nail.
Ward 3. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Nail. Mr. Creel in Ward 4.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, Director LaBartad, just to follow up on the traffic lights at North Country Club, Sunkiss Country Club and at Margaret Cherry.
Yeah, I've got Lamy Electric looking to see if we can add another light in that cabinet. And I haven't heard back from him yet, but I'll get you an update on that.
Okay, and thank you so very much. Two things on patching outside of Ashwood. I don't know if this council does it, but if there's any way we can change the name of Pops Ferry Road to Patch Ferry Road, I think it would be prevalent. It's not looking good out there. Several calls out there doing that, but I appreciate at least the rocks aren't flying up, hitting houses and vehicles.
And we're trying to get a contractor to come in and catch up on some of this patching work. There's not very many local small asphalt patching companies, and so it's hard to get on their schedule, but we're working on that. So
right.
it's
Christy, you might want to point out the difference between hot patch and cold patch and the challenges we had. I don't know if you remember Giggles Gruich and his crew with asphalt, but that was cold patch. And that, you might want to explain a little bit about, we talked about that at our normal directors meeting. There's a lot of difference between, what needs to be done permanent versus things when it gets hot, the cold patch goes away. So explain that.
So cold patch is what we would use typically to put in like a small pothole or something like that.
Right.
It's not as durable as hot patch. As soon as it, like he said, as it gets hot, it's more likely to become, move out of the hole, essentially. We no longer can buy it locally. I think it only comes out of Alabama now. So we have a hard time getting it, for one. And obviously, it doesn't last very long. Like,
That's a good thing.
One of the spots that we did up there, Councilman Shoemaker, we put cold patch in it because we couldn't get a hot patch asphalt contractor here, and it lasted like 3 days. I mean, it was terrible, but we did what we could because that was all we had. So that's been one of our issues on some of these potholes is getting the cold patch because it's hard to get, and then 2, finding a small contractor that will do this hot mix asphalt patches for us, which is a more permanent repair.
Right, and completely understand. The patch at Ashwood is certainly not a cold patch. That is out there, and the limestone is definitely not the answer because, especially at the velocity that you're traveling on Pops Ferry Road, those rocks are being kicked up, and it's not gravel. Yeah. Those are granite-sized rocks like you see at the railroad tracks that you're putting there.
What was discussed with our crew on our Monday morning meeting was the ability to, like some of these big contractors do, pump back up the Warren pavement with a apparatus like a trailer or a truck that can be loaded with the hot, the material necessary. So we do not have a vehicle with that, but that could be part of the capital consideration of backing it up. And I think it's on Seaway Road is where Warren pays, and most of the cities that have those things do that.
Yeah,
that's on the radar.
So thank you for that because I had several residents reach out to me.
And just so you know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to package all of those small spots that we have all over to give to the contractor to kind of entice him. More work, maybe we can get on his schedule quicker to respond. So that's kind of our mindset.
Pops Ferry is starting to look like Dolly Parton's jacket. I'm just letting you know.
But that's been the case. Scheduling larger quantities of work is always been, even with the infrastructure. Once you have X amount of tons to distribute, which means miles or linear feet of stuff, they want to do all of it at one time. They mobilize their equipment, get it there, and do as much as they can while the equipment's on the ground and some of the things so that's it's always been a consideration of getting the necessary equipment to a spot as fast as we can, but it's larger
projects that are schemed out like that are good. In this essence, this was an emergency project where there was a leak that they had to go in and fix the leak immediately.
Yeah.
So I understand the delay in getting him out there to do it, but at the same time, the velocity of speed and the signs saying bump, I think that only encouraged him to go faster. It certainly didn't slow him down. But thank you for that, and thank you again for Jody Ewing. He once again came through, saved the day. I think the only thing missing off that guy is a cape. He satisfied the resident along with the contractor. Definition of a good deal is when both of them were happy. So thank you again for his services. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. The next Ward 5 meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 14th at 5:30 at the Snyder Community Center. This ward meeting is, of course, open to the public. Again, that's a Ward 5 meeting, Monday, September 14th, 5:30 at the Snyder Center. I received word today for the folks in Briarfield subdivision that the south end of Pine Grove is being paved as this meeting is occurring, so that's good news. I know they've waited patiently. Also, I'd like to just thank somebody in the engineering department, John Salisbury. That name means nothing to almost everybody in the room, but he's the gentleman who puts out the traffic alerts, and we have a lot of them going on at the moment. He puts them out there to the public for dissemination in a very timely manner. Sometimes you don't have much notice for some of these closures. 3 or 4 different groups of folks have to agree to whatever's done. Highway 90, Pass Road, MacArthur and Churchill Avenue, but he does a good job. If you met him on the street, you'd never know who he was, but he makes your life a little bit easier with every traffic alert that he posts. So thank you, Christy. That concludes my reports. We'll now move to the public agenda. This portion of the city council meeting, anyone who wishes to speak to the council, just raise your hand when I ask if there's just a moment, let me finish my spiel here. Okay, we'll set aside up to 45 minutes. Each individual is permitted up to 3 minutes to speak. Be sure when you come to the table here, if you've not signed in with your name and address, please do that on the table. When you begin speaking, there's a timer over here by the clerk. She'll hit the button. We're off to the races for 3 minutes. And if you exceed 3 minutes, you'll hear this sound. It doesn't mean you've won something. It means your time is up. Okay? With that having been said, is there anybody on my left that wishes to comment? Anybody on my left? Nobody on my left. Good. We'll go anybody to my right. Yes, sir, please.
My name's Jerry Harper. Live on Water Street in Biloxi. And I want to talk about the budget and the need to really get the specifics out here. I tried to get a 27 line item budget and it wasn't available. I don't know how you can make decisions without looking at it. What I want to see is a budget that's balanced based on current revenues, that's prioritized with regard to safety issues, fire, police, emergency services, and basic road, water, sewer, and maintenance. And it can be done. It can be done very easily. What you have is you take the current revenue stream, go back to your past budgets. Find a budget that fits the current revenue stream. You take the current line items for the police, fire department, and the like, you put it in there, you calculate the difference that you added to that budget from that addition, because they no doubt increased, and use that to prorate or basically subtract from the lower ones. You now have a budget, okay, one that's balanced, gives the basic priorities to things, and it'll satisfy your statutory requirements for the September 15th deadline on this. And then you can come back and make all your discussions about what other things need to be done, what enhancements we have. As you said on TV, you know, we have money, okay? It's going to come to an end a little bit later in the year, but you have time to fix that up, and you have time to cross-check your revenues and fine-tune any types of additions that you want. And what I'd like to see is to have that line item 2027 budget on the internet by about Thursday so people can really look at it. And also some prior year budgets that you think would match that revenue stream. That's my primary comment. My other comment is to Councilman Gray from Ward 1, who's my councilman, and I really don't agree with this whole beautification thing that you're proposing. And I'm going to make a suggestion to you. And I think you're talking about everybody else needs to be hands-on. I think you need to be hands-on. And I'm going to ask Jerry Creel, do you have any cordless, battery-driven weed whackers? Maybe you could pick up a few, keep them in the back of your car, and when you make these rounds around, you just get out and weed whack.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harper, for your comments. Is there anybody else on my right, your left, that wishes to speak? The good chaplain, please.
Again, Chaplain Major Philip Smith, U.S. Army retired. I want to thank the council members and the mayor for allowing me to speak. And we thank Councilman Ward for his work at the Snyder Center and about the pool. I just found out a few minutes ago, just before the meeting started, that one third of my thing I wrote up isn't active anymore. So, but I do want to thank the mayor and his staff for allowing us to self-secure ourselves and no longer needing the lifeguards. Also, I just found out that the pool is now open 5 days a week, which I can't use because of medical issues right now, but I appreciate that. But then the thing I want to go to is, can we also go past noon for our usage, just like those who are playing pickleball? Why should we now be kept to noon when we no longer need the lifeguards? Those who play pickleball, I still think, if you need tax money, maybe they should, you pay some small fee the same way the swimmers do, because they get the use of a air-conditioned facility, polished floors, equipment set up, and chairs without paying a fee. And if they use the commercial facilities, it would cost them a whole lot more. And requiring a modest annual fee, similar to what the swimmers pay, would offset your recreational budget, while also treating the swimmers fairly, especially since I say a lot of the swimmers probably are of a lower income than those who play pickleball. The next thing I want to talk about is pool maintenance. It was told, I'm not sure if it's going to be true, that it's going to be once a week. If that happens, then the pool usage would be more difficult because you have to shock the system. It'd be stronger chemicals, and then what happens the rest of the week. And so for us who are paying users, we pay extra and beyond our taxes to keep the pool heated and the chemicals at the right level. So we ask that that it will be taken care of, and more than just what was mentioned at first, just only once a week. Again, I can't use the natatorium because too cold, too deep, and there's not enough space because I need a stair step to sit on to do my self-rehabilitation because of my several military injuries. But I thank you for the time to share with you and appreciate it, and y'all have a very blessed day.
Thank you, Chaplain, and again, thank you for your service. Anybody else on my right, your left, that wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am, in the front row.
Good afternoon, Mayor Fofo and the council. My name is Sherry Strother. I'm CEO of the Miss Senior World organization. We are a global international pageant. I have spent several years with Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss America. I have brought the international global pageant to the Biloxi coast 7 years ago in November for 10 days. We bring in economic dollars to Biloxi. We have women from all over the United States, other countries that come in and spend 10 days on the coast. We also are a 501c3 nonprofit, which we started last year. Last year, I was granted through the nonprofit reduction in the Civic Center fees that I rent for a week, which helps us to put on the organization. We have 3 charities that we give to: Homes for Our Troops, Mississippi Center for Autism, and Celebrate Recovery for Teens. We also support our veterans. Through the economic dollars that these women, their families, and their friends come and spend for the last 7 years here, even though I'm a small organization, I feel that I have benefited and I bring seniors to the Gulf Coast, which is what you want. Seniors spend money. These women come with $10,000 wardrobes. They compete on stage. It is live streamed. Biloxi videos, Biloxi photo shoots are put live stream the night of the preliminaries and the night of the event, November 20th and 21st, 2026 at the Civic Center. Biloxi is aired live. I have contestants that have come back and relocated here because they love it. They bring their grandchildren. They come here for vacations. I'm disappointed that the council has denied my reduction as a 501c3. I'm not asking for it to be all covered. I'm just asking for a reduction in the price, which helps me give back in our charities. Now, if there are charities that's listening here today with all the things that need to be done, if there's a charity or something that Miss Senior World can do to help beautify, work with you to beautify Biloxi, our Queens, we crown 3 winners, Miss Senior World 50, 60, and 70. We bring them back. I bring them back for a week during Mardi Gras. We have our own float. They come in the summer for a retreat. We give back. And what I'm asking you is to help me to continue to provide this opportunity. You have a program book of who we are, what we do. Governor Tate Reeves endorses us. Attorney General Lynn Fitch, Mayor Fofo endorses us. So I need your help, please. I'd love for you to come to the event. It's just like Miss Universe, only these are women ages 50 through 79 in $10,000 gowns and doing great things in their state and community.
Thank you, Ms. Stroker. Appreciate that. Is there anybody else on my left, your right? Yes, sir, the gentleman coming forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Luther Fairley, pastor of the Main Street Missionary Baptist Church in the East Biloxi area. I stopped by today to say that I want to give gratitude and give appreciation and give thanks. We had a service in the East Biloxi area, the Praise in the Park. It's been an annual traditional thing. It was August the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. I have the better of 2 worlds. I was raised up in East Biloxi. I now reside and live in Ward 6. Councilman Gladden is our councilman. Proud to have him. Now, I want to give special thanks to Chief Everett and Mr. Jamie. Also, all those who were inspirational in helping our service to be one of the greatest service that we've had in the last 4 and 5 years. I want to encourage you all to continue to work together. And particularly Mr. Jamie Lee, when we got there, the grass needed cutting. I told our deacon, I said, listen, you got 0-turn lawnmower, go cut the grass. I said, but before you cut it, call Mr. Jamie Lee. And Mr. Jamie Lee said, don't bother, we'll get the grass cut. I do want to let you know in the near future, our church, we don't mind helping out with matters like that. I would love for us to adopt the park, Henry Beck Park, because it needs a lot of things. But before we do anything, we would always check with your department. So I want to encourage you all, when I left as mayor, I want to encourage y'all to continue to work together. My last word, this is my Easter speech. My last word at the church I serve, this is what our philosophy is. Teamwork makes the dream work. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Fairley. Is anybody else on my right, your left? Yes, sir, Mr. Husley.
I want to make sure I heard Ms. Christie right about Monday. Y'all going to start out there, Mom and Dad's ditch. Okay.
Mr. Husley, your name, please, for the clerk.
Albert Husley. I think Mr. David, Rick, Christie, because this has been 14 years in the making, and just having it to get it done satisfies me completely. Okay, and I know we've had our differences and words of opinion, but I do, appreciate y'all working with him and getting it done, and it's quicker the better. But there is a few things that you have a young man over here who's acted as the chief, and personally, I think he's done a real good job at doing it. He's done it through the budget part of it, and to actually step him down underneath Chris, I don't think it'd be right to him. I really don't. And where I can agree with the gentleman that spoke against Mr. Gray, more or less, our ward is the biggest ward of Biloxi, Ward 7. It's the biggest one. And road down there, I think it was Sunday, grass hadn't been cut, trash all over the place. And police presence has been a little better, just a little bit, but they're just kind of sitting in the trucks. They ain't riding. And as far as the budget goes, I ain't no politician. I'll say this: get rid of your $80,000 vehicle down there. Get rid of that. Go right to the Parks and Recreation. There's a whole bunch of trucks over there you could drive, and that'd be $80,000 right there that you could put back in your city. And I rode, last time, me and my dad was just out eating, riding, and rode by the Parks and Recreation. They have all kinds of trucks over there, just sitting there. Why are they just sitting there? And why do we have to have new vehicles? You go to D'Iberville, they have old ones. They're work vehicles. Don't need to be new. You go to Ocean Springs, they have work vans. There's a lot that could be done on this budget. That could, like I said, that $80,000 vehicle right there, you may like it, but really don't need it. Paying the mileage in his own vehicle, that kind of deal.
Thank you, Mr. Husley.
Thank you.
Anybody else on my right, your left, that wishes to speak? Nobody else on my right? On my left? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Put on your seat belts. Teamwork, I like that word. Morale starts at the top, and its communication is the key for that.
Mr. DeRose, just a moment. If you would identify yourself for the clerk so we can get you officially on the record, know who you are. Thank you.
Again, I apologize, but I think that the morale, if morale is low, I'm shocked, because every supervisor's job is to encourage those underneath them and to support them and to help them up the ladder and not keep them down the ladder. And anybody with military experience or professional police administrative experience understands that. The other thing I have to say is this: is the city of Biloxi, do they have a court of no record here? A court of no record. Is the municipal court of Biloxi a court of no record? Does anybody know? Sir?
It's not a question and answer period. It's for any comments you wish to make. Mr. DeRoche.
If the city of Biloxi is a court of no record, then it opens itself up to corruption and misuse, as well as judicial bias. But in the state of Mississippi, they call it judicial mistake. Now, how are you going to, as a person, come to court, there's no record of it, and you have a complaint, you can't prove your complaint. It's like that in the state of Mississippi for a reason, and everyone in this room can Google those reasons why it's set up like that. And I find it not only outrageous and egregious and offensive, but it's an insult to every citizen in the state of Mississippi. There are innocent people in prison and in jail, and we all know that. That contributes to that factor. Now, what I have to say also is that from the morale point of view, y'all, man, we need to get on that. Look, I was a supervisor in the military, and I know if you communicate with your troops, they'll crawl through a mile of broken glass for you if you take care of them. But that gentleman, the pastor, came in with the word teamwork. It's everybody's responsibility, from the mayor on down to that police chief over there. And I like Chris. I worked with Chris in the past on a homicide investigation. I'm a retired detective. And I don't know the ins and outs about it, but I support that man because I know him personally. And I look forward to meeting you and getting to know you better also, Chief. Sometimes we have to go.
Thank you, Mr. DeRoche. That doesn't happen to him very often. That's why we took a moment to have that man's hand shook. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Ms. Hunt.
I do. My name is Susan Hunt. Yes, I'll sign my name. Okay. Y'all know I get real emotional. Okay? I want to thank each of you for all you do for this community, the city of Biloxi. And I want to thank y'all. I have been an administrator, and things are not easy. And I want to thank you for all that you do. And yes, it's teamwork, all of us working together, the mayor, you all, and everybody. I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for everything you do. You knew I was here, didn't you? And you knew I had to speak. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
Thank you.
Last call. Anyone else wish to address the council? Okey-doke, council comments are closed. The public agenda is closed. We now move to the policy agenda. If the clerk would read the first item, please.
Resolution to grant final subdivision plat approval for an 89-lot single-family residential subdivision known as Falcon Glen.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
There's a motion by Mr. Shoemaker.
I'll second it.
And a second by Mr. Glavin. Mr. Shoemaker.
Yeah, I'll be quick. This really is just, I think, part of Phase 2 of Bellevue. It's one subdivision and many subdivisions that are being built in Wool Market. And all the bonds have been obtained. Everything's been done on that end. This is just the final plat approval. And again, it's part of many other subdivisions that have been built and that are in the process of being built or in the future built. So all bonds have been approved. And like I said a second ago, it's just the final plat approval is all we're approving today. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. Glavin.
I think the councilman in Ward 7 covered it nicely. I have nothing to add.
Any other questions or comments from the council? All right, there being none, we'll call for the question. All in favor of the resolution as presented? It's approved on a 7-0 vote for the clerk. If the clerk would read item B, please.
Resolution approving the public hearing notice that will provide the general public with an opportunity to comment on the proposed budget and the proposed tax levies and spending plan.
I'll entertain a motion. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second it.
There's a second by Mr. Nail. I want to make it clear, this is not voting on the millage increase at this time. This is voting to advertise for a millage increase, which, as I understand it, we're required to do by state statute in a timely fashion. So that's what we're doing now, is approving the, I guess, the verbiage and the public notice of a millage increase. In the future, we will have a public budget hearing for the public to comment on that proposed budget. That concludes my comments. Mr. Nail, did you have a comment?
I had no comments.
All right, are there any other comments? Mr. Creel?
So I understand your comments to say that this is to advertise strictly, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. According to the exhibit, what we're advertising is for the next fiscal year, the city of Biloxi plans to increase your ad valorem tax millage rate by 3 mills, from 30.10 mills to 33.10 mills. The proposed increase is necessary to enable the city to provide services at a satisfactory level. The current millage will not allow the city to do so. This increase means that you will pay more in ad valorem taxes on your home, automobile tag, utilities, business fixtures and equipment, and rental real property. So, colleagues, that's what the advertisement says. It is an advertisement, but what it says is the city will raise your taxes, and in here, it is 3 mills. I understand there's more discussion, but what we're going to advertise is we're raising mills by 3. That's what we're advertising. I just want to make it clear. I understand that not necessarily a smoke and mirror. They're saying we're doing an advertisement, and at the bottom it says how big it's got to be with the font size and all the particulars. However, what we're saying is we will do that. So I just want to make sure you understand what you're voting on to advertise, and then I have an amendment, a proposed amendment at the proper time.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Any other comments, discussion?
Yeah, I was trying to make sure I'm clear on that.
Mr. Marshall?
You're saying that we're not, this is actually saying that we're going to actually vote to do it.
Basically, what it says is the advertisement is attached as the Exhibit B, and it says in the newspaper, that's what we're going to do.
Let me take just a moment. Mr. Abide, the city attorney, please.
Yes, the statute is very specific on the timing of when things need to be done in the budget year and when the advertisement needs to be made. The statute says the first night meeting, or the first meeting before the budget, 1 week before the budget is ultimately passed, there's a public hearing. It has to be done after business hours. So we have that meeting at 5 o'clock on September 1st. We also have a night meeting. Not every city has a night meeting, but every other city will likely have their public hearing on September 1st, at 5 o'clock or after. The statute then has 2 ways you can advertise. If the advertisement states there will be no millage increase, it sets out the specific language. If there is a proposed millage increase, it sets out the language. It unfortunately doesn't say in an amount to be determined, or leaving an amount blank, or up to. It doesn't say that. It is, though, just to advertise the intent for the public hearing. It could still fail at the public hearing. So, but the form of the advertisement, this is essentially word for word of the advertisement. It also has to state the reason, and I took that reason as far as provide satisfactory level. The current millage will not allow the city to do so. That was taken from City of Gaucher from a couple of years ago. So I don't disagree that that's what the advertisement says, but I would just say it has to state this exactly as it states in the statute, or the whole millage could be questioned later.
Are you saying we're going to, or are we proposing that we will?
We're going to.
So what are you saying, Mr. Creel? What do you think it should say? How would you amend this?
Well, first and foremost, once again, here we are at the 11th hour. This was tried again last year at the same 11th hour because we ran into a date deadline on when we need to advertise it. I understand the statute and its regulations on when we have to advertise and when we need to advertise. However, the statute doesn't regulate that we cannot discuss this throughout the year, which is what I requested last year after the millage increase failed. What I said was, 11th hour, we didn't have time to look at it. If we could, I'm not opposed to a millage increase if we can sit down throughout this next fiscal year, discuss where the millage, what millage needs to be increased by, and B, where it's going to be spent. I don't know, I haven't been called to any meetings to discuss any millage increase other than last Tuesday, 5 minutes before we opened this meeting. 5 minutes before we opened this meeting is when I was brought into an office and discussed this millage increase for 5 minutes. We've had 300 days to sit down and discuss if we plan to raise the millage, why we plan to raise the millage, what we're going to raise the millage, and where the millage will be directed. None of that discussion has been made with me. I don't know if it's been made with 2 or 3 others. That seems to be the status quo here lately, is 2 and 3 have been meeting and then is directed to expand on the conversation with the others, which that hasn't been happening either. But what I'm saying is I want you to understand what the advertisement will say is the city of Biloxi plans to increase, plans to, intends to, will do. That's what the advertisement says. Now, like I said, at the proper time, I do have an amendment if it's even viable or if it can even be done, but I do have a suggestion going forward. But I just want you to understand what this advertisement will say in the newspaper.
So what I'm hearing from that is that we need this to be stated more along the lines that it's not a foregone conclusion, but we do have intentions possibly. Is that what you're saying?
No, there ain't no possible to it. We have intentions to do it.
In other words, you don't want it to say it that way.
Also at the night meeting, that's when the council, at the night meeting, that's when they will vote on the actual levy of the millage. So.
But this right here says if you vote on this today, that means this council just voted to advertise that we're going to raise your millage 3. We're going to advertise to raise your millage by 3. That's what this advertisement will say if we vote this forward today. That this council intends to, along with the city of Biloxi, we will raise it by 3.
This is in effect to legally notify the public, to alert the public that we're looking at the...
Not looking.
That we will be raising should a majority vote to approve such a millage increase. I think the mayor has a comment.
I do have a comment, and it's, talking about things, it was your decree, y'all's decree to make revenues equal expenses. That has become apparent that gap is still there. If you look at the last budget worksheet, the difference between, and again, this was not mentioning using a fund balance or some of the year-to-date prior gain or loss if that were the case. So this has been talked about from last year, okay? It was your intent to say, let's make revenues equal expenses. That has not become apparent till how many workshops ago. If you look at your worksheet today, you'll see the difference between revenues and expenses in your latest workshop at $2.4 million. We have one more department to do today, right? And that happens to be about $2.4 million. This possible millage increase at the millage rate is going to generate, with the assessed value that's been pushed forward, about $2.1 million. That fills that gap. That was the intention, and that does not, that does not become apparent till these workshops have surfaced where the short's going to be. So, the intent is to alert everyone that this could be coming. And from a legal standpoint, I defer to the language that the law states. So, but bottom line, if you're talking about teamwork, this millage fills that gap that y'all have worked out between revenues and expenses.
Thank you. Peter, question. the language in this public notice can't be modified.
No.
All right, but the figure or millage could be amended here.
Yes.
So to your point, and I don't think I'm a mind reader, but I think you were looking perhaps at amending that figure of 3 mills. But other than that, the language that's in the notice pretty much is required by statute.
Right, no, I get that, However,
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Creel.
However, a few things here. First of all, teamwork goes both ways. From what I understand, we've been looking at a deficit budget for the last 5 years. How come we have...
That's not wrong. That's not a deficit budget.
Well, I didn't interrupt you.
Mayor, go ahead, Mr. Creel. Thank you, Mayor.
We've been looking at a budget that is not balanced. There you go. I won't use it. I know you don't like the word deficit. So we have looked at an unbalanced budget. I know for the last 4 years. We looked at it last year. Revenue didn't meet expenses. Last year, we looked at it then. Revenue, that's what we're trying to get to this year. You've said at a time or 2 or 10 that we have tasked you to get revenues to match its expenses, and that's where we are right now. I get it. But for the last 5 years, we have not had revenue matching expenses when you guys passed the budget. That's LBJ, long before Jamie. What I'm telling you is this, is that 5 years ago, we should have looked at millage increase then and done it incrementally instead of waiting until we're in a dire shape and doing all 3 at one time and ripping the Band-Aid off of it this way. You keep bringing it up, and you brought it up to me 5 minutes before the last meeting about the $65 for the $200,000 house. I get that. There are far more houses in this city worth more than $200,000. We're not addressing them. I've asked you, what would this 3 mil increase, what will it levy onto our 8 casinos? What will it levy onto our financial institutions? What will it levy onto our commercial properties? What will it levy onto our mom and pop businesses? That's what I've tasked you to do, and I've yet to get any of that information. Jerry Creel just mentioned in his statement, I typed 209, 219, 200, 71. That's 699 houses. Rooftops, as you called it. That's just the numbers you gave me, not to mention the other 89 that we just passed, not to mention Home 2 Suites, Cybertech Building, the BARC Building, if it ever gets done, Harry, over there on Margaritaville, all of that. We have those coming on tax rolls that are coming up that can make up a deficit without increasing. Have we looked at that projected income? Have we proposed that and said 219 houses, 219 right there next to on Pops Ferry Road, what is that millage going to, what are we going to bring on the books at the current millage rate with these 700 houses?
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
none of that's been given to us. That's why I asked last year, throughout this year, if we can sit down and discuss this millage increase. I got 5 minutes in a year. Not to mention, we just, from what I understand, talking to 2 other council members, you just devised an economic development committee of 5 people that are on it. We just did that. We've been in this situation for over 5 years. We should have had that committee installed way before now. I haven't met with them. And now we're at a deadline. We're at the 11th hour to try to make this thing happen when nobody else has talked. 2 council members have met with this committee. I just think teamwork goes both ways. We should have been working on this in December of last year and working on it throughout this year. We should, this right here couldn't be more vague. And not to mention, it says City of Biloxi plans to. So if this council adopts this, that means this city council plans to increase it by 3 mills. We plan to, we intend to. And it doesn't say anything on this. I read it. It doesn't say anything about a vote, popular vote. Doesn't say anything about that, according to this exhibit. If there's another exhibit I'm not aware of, let me know. According to this one, any citizen of Biloxi is invited to attend this public hearing on the proposed ad valorem tax increase and will be allowed to speak for a reasonable amount of time and offer tangible evidence before any vote is taken.
That's right, because the hearing is at 5 o'clock and the vote will be taken at 6. Now, it also says in the statute, some cities do approve the tax increase. When we never had a millage increase, we never asked for the form of the advertisement to be sort of pre-vetted or pre-approved. But what you're saying about coming out of the blue, there was no decision it wouldn't be proper at all just to run it in the paper without anybody knowing about it.
But no, it did come out, I mean, it came out of the blue last year. Last year, it was brought out on a Tuesday. We had to call a special meeting on Wednesday just to vote before Friday.
Because that was the first time there was a intent or an interest of what is the procedure if we wanted to raise millage.
And then when it failed,
we had a special meeting on Wednesday to decide that, and I think it went back and forth, and it failed. We ran the normal publication.
and
if
it
this
hadn't been
fails
discussed
today,
yet till now.
but if this fails today, we'll probably have to run the normal publication again of no millage.
But I get that. My question is if we tried 3 mills last year and it failed, why hasn't the discussion been brought back up before now?
Personally, I've heard it discussed at every budget meeting as a possibility. It may have to be done.
Let me let the mayor respond. Mayor.
Well, and maybe more than 3 council members need to be in those budget meetings.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Let me address some things. When you say out of balance, okay, back in 2022, let me state the situation. 2022 budget. Since that time, there was a 5% across the board increase in salaries. One time, a year later, there was $1.2 million impact by reinstating longevity pay. And there's another 3% between that then and now. In 2022, when you're talking about expenses and revenues, we used from the prior year-to-date gain or loss, the prior year, that's not the current year or proposed years. In other words, you can use what you made the prior year and expenses still out of whack with the revenues, which in case it was because we wanted to, stay up with competitive revenue, right, coming right out of the pandemic. We had to do some things that revenues were not going to be as equal to when we applied the revenue. But bottom line, personal expenses, wages and salaries for our employees since 2022 have grown $6 million. Our revenues have not grown $6 million. So through growth, and I think Councilman Creel was talking about the ability to grow, and I think that mill last year was $7.99. That year today is $8.05. It probably, assessed value grows at about, Jason's back there, I think, at about 2.25 to 2.5. So some growth will, put us millage a little bit more value, and revenues will increase because the value of the whole taxing district increases. There'll be some growth in that, and you can see what the generation of that revenue, but from a conservative standpoint, it will grow 2.25, so the value of that millage will maybe grow $5 or $10 more per mill per year. But you've got to see what do you have at hand. But the bottom line is, we're hopeful that we can grow at a rate that will sustain not only because everybody understands the people who make things happen, their value is there, and it's 61% of the budget. And we can't fall behind again. In 2022, there was only 2 departments that were ahead of us. The 2 cities were, one was Oxford, the other one was South Haven. And we did that. We used $3 million of fund balance to put that in on the expense side, to pay the expense side. Bottom line, every one of you know that we've tried 3 things. We looked at 3 things over the years. Of course, the easiest thing, the only available option in this year, even coming up in 2027 at legislative, where a possible occupancy tax probably won't fly, or a possible food and beverage tax might fly. Only leaves this option. We can skinny the budget as much as we can. We can surplus as much as we can. And some of the things that were on the radar may put, $1 million or so back into the kitty. But it is what it is right now. You're seeing on your worksheet the difference between revenues and expenses of $2.4 million. You got one more non-departmental review. I think that is about $2.4 million is what's on the table now. So that's the, if that flies through, you're at about a $2 million. But this 3 mills would collectively generate $2.1 million.
Mr. Marshall, I believe you had a comment.
I guess what we're trying to figure out is this. We have workshops on everything from, seem like, changing the curtains, seem like lately. Why we didn't have a workshop on this? Mr. Creel just said we need to talk about it. And also, sir, what's the deadline for this notification?
Publication would have to be later this weekend, roughly. The first publication. Got to be published 2 times in the paper in a certain amount of time before the public hearing.
Okay, so basically my understanding from Mr. Creel is that you knew this was coming up all along and you didn't say anything. Now all of a sudden we're back at the same point we was at last year, last minute deadline to do something. Okay, allocation of the funds and things like that we should have been discussing all along. So I'm with Mr. Glavin. He said he's already gave you conditions, so why we not have meetings on just the bond? We're meeting about everything else. We need to have a meeting before we start publicizing. Right now, it does look like Mr. Creel is saying, it does look as if it's saying that we're going to do this. So is there any way we can change that wording?
No. I mean, you publish it 2 ways. You publish it no increase at all, and that's the publish, or you publish the city plans to do this, but the council still has to ultimately pass and set the tax levy. So at the hearing, at the public hearing, the 3 mil could be changed to a different amount. No more than 3, but it could be changed to a lower amount. And as part of the budget of where the revenue is going, that's all part of the revenue expenses of the overall budget that the city council approves on the 15th.
What you're saying is that it's part of the revenue budget, the revenue expenses and everything, the revenue, it's saying as if we've already counted it in. We haven't even voted on it.
You set the levy at the 6 o'clock meeting on the 1st. You have to have a public hearing and give notice of that public hearing before you set the tax levy.
I'm going to go to Mr. Glavin. I think you had a comment, Mr. Glavin.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll come back to Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Creel.
President. All right, so real key here. Hey, this is a major decision. We haven't raised ad valorem tax 25 years. And so I get it. I get it how it weighs on people's conscience to make a decision like this. It's very impactful. So if we go forward with the advertising as is, we hold the public hearing at 5 o'clock and we get the input. At 6 o'clock, this council convenes and we can, like I stated in my opening statements, we can put assurances in there that we are at or near or at the lowest tax rate of any city. And 2, at that time, we could also say that this 3 mills is going to be allocated for a specific purpose. We could do that. Could we legally do that? It would really be done as part of your budget, I think. If you were going to put it all into public safety, for example, you would increase public safety. If you were going to put it into certain non-departmentals, you'd put it into that. So let me rephrase. If we went forward, then the council separately could say we're going to take 3 mills of the budget, whatever that amount is, not necessarily in the instrument that we draw up, but we could say to the citizens of Biloxi, we went up 3 mills and we're going to make sure 3 mills is dedicated for police and fire and all that kind of stuff. That's 2. 3, we could also, at our 6 o'clock meeting, decide on a different amount than the 3 mills. Is that correct? Am I accurate on that, Pete? Did I miss anything? Let me verify that with my financial advisor. Is he still here? Jason here? You left me hanging? Okay, yeah. I think that's ultimately, when you set the tax levy, you're going to set the ad valorem tax for the general fund, and that's where you would set it. And I get it. The letter's going to go out. It's going to advertise that the city of Biloxi is having a public hearing to raise the taxes 3 mills, raise ad valorem 3 mills. I get it. I get that. But we still have, the 7 of us have the opportunity to continue to debate this and put it in a form that we have a consensus up here, or we can vote it, against it altogether and it dies. We still have those options before us. Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, Mr. Creel.
So could in this advertisement, could you not do for the next 3 fiscal years? Could you advertise it that way? Could you advertise for the next 3 fiscal years, we plan, the city will increase it 1 mil per year?
Could do that.
I don't think so, because they talk about this is an annual advertisement, and I mean, not to get into different councils and trying to commit a future council to something. It's an annual public hearing. You set the taxes annually. There can be intent discussed, but it's not binding. It's only binding based on what the advertisement says.
So,
for example, too, last year or maybe the year before that, we got a notice from the school district that they were increasing their portion by $1 million because of PERS. We just got a letter from them saying, we need an extra $1 million. We have to follow what the school tells us to do. So we did that. But in the advertisement, we said the city of Biloxi is not raising taxes, but we did give notice that the school has asked for a $1 million tax increase, and that will be part of this public hearing. So we did do that last year.
So do we know definitive that we cannot say for the next 3 years? We know that for a fact, or?
I don't see how we could do that, because you're setting an annual budget. You basically would be trying to set a budget through 2 or 3 years in advance.
Heaven forbid. The next, okay, so could you, in this, could you say for the next fiscal year, the city of Biloxi plans to increase your ad valorem tax by 3 mils dedicated to public safety? Can you not add that and divert the money directly where you want in this advertisement?
I mean, when the legislature puts in a tax millage notice, how it should be stated with the fonts and border around it and the weekly newspaper, it doesn't have any of those options where it's going to go to. So adding that in there would be dangerous, could be fatal. However, as part of the budget and setting the budget by the council has the ability to direct what department and which areas of the city are getting.
So I understand the font, the border, and all the things, but in that paragraph, we cannot direct where that millage is spent in that paragraph? I understand. I mean, it'd be similar to the bond. We don't include it in the bond because we don't want to be tied to where it's being spent. That's why we use the kitchen sink. And that's another thing that, we did just pass a resolution for $16.5 million in bond. Now we're raising property taxes. So, and you can call it a millage increase all you want. We're raising taxes. It's a tax increase. So can we not put in there where that tax increase is going to be used? And after the word mills, it would go, if we wanted to change this advertisement, before it's sent out to say for the next fiscal year, the city of Biloxi plans to increase your ad valorem tax millage rate by 1 mil, and this mill will be dedicated to public safety. The proposed increase is necessary to enable the city to provide services of public safety at a satisfactory level. The current millage will not allow the city to do so. This increase means that you will pay more in ad valorem taxes on your home, automobile tag, utilities, business fixtures, and equipment and real property to assist in public safety efforts for the city of Biloxi.
Having had some experience with this in a previous career, I believe the language is prescribed. You pretty much have to follow. It's a boilerplate.
We just said we got this from Gaucher.
Hang on just a moment. And that being the case, you could run a separate notice, if you will, that would be run below what's required by the state if you wanted to say how that millage was used. but I think for purposes of the public notice as required by statute, you're pretty much tied to the language that you have. The other thing is that we can always amend the council can always amend the budget. We could do that if revenue's coming in or the millage is approved and we want to put money here or there, we can do that. All that's required is the 4 votes or 5 votes if the mayor disagrees and wants to veto something. But I've said what I wanted to say. Go ahead, Mr. Creel.
I just, as I said, we just got most of this language from the city of Goshen. I don't understand why we can't input.
The part where they said the reason, that was from the city of Goshen. Because if you are raising it, you have to state the reason, and that's not clearly spelled out, so I was looking for the last example, somebody that did it, and Paulie Yancey's their city manager, and a good attorney, and I trust her judgment.
So we could say we want to increase it 1 mil for public safety, and then the next city could come along and use ours as an example.
No, I'm not going to agree to that. I don't think the statutory language should be added as far as stating exactly what it's earmarked for, because the millage is different from the budget. The budget is passed the following week, and it can be specifically directed as part of the budget. It could be earmarked that way as part of the budgetary process.
Okay, I think we're flattening this rabbit at the moment. I'd like to wrap this up if we could, Mr. What's your name over there in Ward 2? Mr. Marshall, go ahead.
Yeah. The question I was listening for the answer to was, upon the vote, the final vote to raise the millage, we can pinpoint and allocate it, direct it to a specific department or for a specific use. In other words, 1 mil for public safety, 1 mil for parks and recreation, 1 mil for economic development.
By resolution.
By resolution.
Yep.
So that is that, just not at this time.
Right, the levies are set at the meeting, September 1st. The budget is going to be, it may be 2 weeks from then, right? I think we're off the second week. So by September 15, we would set the actual final budget. And any specific directing or amendments to the budget would happen at that time.
I think it was very clear from Mr. Creel when he did say, I do remember that meeting where he was very clear about doing this ahead of time, waiting to the last minute, and putting the pressure on us to make a decision. We're talking about making a decision worth millions of dollars, and we're putting it to us at the last minute. That's the problem more so than anything. The second thing is I do agree, Mr. Glavin, we want to make sure that it's allocated. We do know that every time the state or the federal government give us money, they put stipulations to it. So I believe that the wording that I was looking for was to make sure that we can put the stipulations to it to direct it where it needs to be going so that we can solve a problem. So I'm good with that part, but I'm going to stick with Mr. Creel because of the principle of the fact that we are waiting to the last minute, and that's not right.
I believe Mr. Shoemaker, you had a comment.
Yes, sir, and I'll make it brief. Do I think we need the increase, and do I think we need the money that will generate? Absolutely. However, that being said, I would have much preferred, not just this administration, the last administration, for years, maybe raise millage, I don't know, 1 mil every few years, instead of trying to raise 3 mils at one time the same year that we approved a bond. I was elected. I represent all citizens of Biloxi. However, the citizens of Woolmarket in Ward 7 elected me to be their voice. Many decades ago, I don't know, 25, 26 years ago, we were annexed against our wishes. Now, the administration, as we speak right now, is doing great things working with me along with the council, and we have some big projects coming soon in Ward 7. But in past years, we have not. I cannot sit up here, I can't vote in agreement with any with any tax increase at all. So I'll just go ahead and say that now. Regardless of what we do today, I can't support any tax increase. I've spoken with dozens of my residents in Ward 7, all but 2, none of them are for an increase. And I have to support them, and I have to be their voice, and we just don't have the same services and infrastructure that the rest of the city has. So supporting a 3% increase on them and getting less, I just cannot do that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Creel, I believe you, Mr. Gray, go ahead. All right, Mr. Creel, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to offer amendment and change the advertisement from your ad valorem tax millage rate by 1 mil. Change to amend it from 3 mils to 1 mil. That way we can do 1 mil each year for the next 3 years. It's sustainable, it's disciplined, it's responsible, transparent, and then that way I believe all of us can agree to where that 1 mil would be directed with the budget, and then we know we got another mil coming in year 2 where that can be directed with that year's budget, and then in year 3 we could do another mil to be directed for where we see fit in that year's budget. I think 1 mil would be responsible, would be disciplined, and would be something that our taxpayers could be sent as an olive branch and a compromise.
So to state your amendment clearly, rather than a 3 mil increase, you would
be 1 mil.
Prefer that read as a 1 mil increase. Right. All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second by Mr. Gray. Anything else you'd like to add, Mr.
I believe
Creel?
we discussed it.
Okay, Mr. Gray, any comments?
Yes, I agree with Mr. Creel. It's hard to get the mom and pop and the commercial businesses, just hit them with a 3 mil tax. I think we need to look at it very hard, and like I said, over a 3-year period, 1 mil. Do we need a 3 mil? Yes. We have people in my ward is complaining about the sidewalks not being fixed forever. A lot of things that need to be done that we don't have the money. But to hit them with a 3 mil increase at one time, I don't agree with it. I mean, like I say, I've had small businesses, and it's hard to go there and hit them with such a big amount at one time. It seems like 3 mils on a house is $60, but you're talking about 3 mils on a $1 million business that's probably struggling right now is a lot. So I agree with Councilman Creel on a 1 mil for the next 3 years.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments?
Yeah, discussion.
Mr. Marshall.
Again, I'm on principle of the matter, and we have no economic development set asides, and that's where I'm leaning towards. We got 20% of the city, East Biloxi, sitting there, needing all the help it can get for economic development, and all the budgets, and I'm on the budget committee. You know, it's about cutting, which is translation means give the people less, give the people less. We have got to invest. So if we're going to do the 1 mil vote that way, I'll vote 1 mil towards, I would like to amend that to, I'm leaning towards another mil just for the economic development. The federal government gives away $1 trillion a year. We don't even have a grant writer in this city. We have a grant writer that we're paying, I think, if I add it up right, I'm thinking $185,000, I think, total we're paying to 2 people to do one particular CDBG grant. We don't have a dedicated grant writer. Every city that has a dedicated grant writer will tell you up front, that person can write 1 grant and make up for their salary. Yet we don't have that. We're looking for money, but we're not asking the federal government for money. We're asking for a little small trinkets amounts. We take for instance the swimming pool situation. We got elderly people trying to swim in the swimming pool for health reasons. Yet there are federal government programs with grants that will give us the grant to make sure that pool is there for them for health reasons. but we don't have a right to ask for it. We're asking for stuff from Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi instead of saying, let's figure out a way to manage what we already have, and let's invest into the city and not just spend. So if we're gonna do that $1 million, why stop at $1 million, dedicate the amount, at least, put something towards economic development, a district. Once the district East Biloxi is getting going, we can take that district, move it to the Wood Market, Pass Road, something to invest in, making sure we bring back money into the city.
Any other comments? I have you done, Mr. Creel? I have a comment. And so, gentlemen, my perspective is I'm in favor of a millage increase. I've been in favor of a millage increase for the past decade. Mayor and I have discussed that. There wasn't enough support in the administration, and/or there wasn't enough support in the council or past councils at that time. And that's okay. That's why there are 7 of us up here. We're all reasonable people, although at times it may appear some of us are or not. We're all reasonable people trying to do the best thing for the citizens of Biloxi. But let me just point out, an increase of $1 million will help a little bit, not much. What we're looking at, and I want to remind our council members that, we've updated these budget binders almost weekly for the past month. It's had the budget calendar in there. It's had any changes in the budget, the gap between revenues and expenditures, and the mayor is accurate. The council did say, for this fiscal year, we want to balance our expenditures with our revenues. Okay? So that being the case, we're looking right now at a loss of 55 positions. Is that correct, Mayor? And that's in our binder. And we're talking about not folks losing jobs, but positions that are not filled now.
Right.
And wait just a moment. The reason I mention that is because if you think that some of the city services are below satisfactory now, with a millage increase of $1 million instead of $3 million, it's going to be worse next year. For those of you who attended a council meeting, I don't know, it might have been 6 or 8 weeks ago, I said at the time, get used to slower services or fewer services, because without generating more revenue, it's going to be tough to pay people to be competitive, and the mayor's right to point out that the personnel costs have gone up. But the council approved that because we needed to hang on to our personnel, our skilled personnel. So the challenge is to provide more timely services and a better quality service to you than we're providing now with less revenue. All we're voting on today is to alert the public to a millage increase. I keep coming back to that because you still have a public budget hearing. We still have an opportunity to direct these dollars generated by whatever millage we approve in this advertisement. But once we vote on this advertisement, we can't go back and change it a week later. So having said all that, I've said what I wanted to say. I think I've made my position clear. That being said, any final comments?
Yes.
Just real
Mr. Creel, and then I'll come
please
back to
take
you.
into consideration also the 699 houses that just added up in the totals he gave us. Take into consideration the commercial development that he just touted that's coming on board as well. That will be taxed at this higher interest rate. I've talked to several real estate agents that called me with concern of them trying to sell these 800 houses that we have. Even though we still will be the lowest millage tax rate, let's just use the 3-letter word, the tax rate, you're still increasing it. And they're looking at it, that is a selling point for them. And they're looking at it, several have called, with dire concerns of what message are we sending out by increasing taxes. Keep in mind the real estate that's coming on board, the commercial development that's coming on board, that it will be contributing to our revenues next year. So 3 mil increase on top of those, what kind of message are we sending to this Home 2 Suites? Before you get here, guess what? This is what you got. Add another 3 tax percentage points to it. Just take that in mind. 1 mil is discipline, it's responsible, transparent, because we can direct where it needs to go through the budget process. Thank you.
Mr. Marshall.
I think it's very clear that the elephant in the room is, my concern is that when I talk to people, they want to know, and why is it that we're having this financial trouble anyway? It's a lot of different reasons for it. But we got to be honest about it. It's not Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi's problem, but you're throwing the money back onto them. You're charging them for more. You gave them, all last year, we gave them less services for their money. This year, we cut them again. We're going to cut them again. There's no way around it. They're going to get less services for their money. Even if you give the $3 million, it still won't be enough to fix the problem. No use keep throwing money without a solution. I'm in business. If I'm having a financial problem and I went to the bank, they want to know, okay, I can loan you the money. That's not the issue. What are you going to do to get out of the hole? What's your new plan? What you've been doing is not working because it got you in a hole. What's your new plan to do something to increase your revenue? That's why I said, if you're going to do anything, put a mill towards economic development so we can get something back out of it. We have to invest to get something back. Just keep throwing money at a sinking ship when already, the casinos are throwing in $23 million a year, and we're still a sinking ship. To sit back and say that everything has gone up, yeah, but every other city, everything has gone up too. Deotterville, Ocean Springs, Gulfport, their labor's gone up. Heck, my business labor is going up. When I was paying somebody at my funeral home, man, compared to what I'm paying now, compared to 10 years ago, it's ridiculous. But I gotta pay it. I can't go around and just keep raising prices and running people off, running my people off. No, I have to figure out a way to invest more to change the way I do business. That's the problem right now. Just going out and asking for write a bigger check, it's not fair to Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi. So, yeah, if we're gonna do it, I need to know what we're gonna be doing with it. Even if it's just for the announcement, to advertise it, as I said before, you had all year to come to us with this and you didn't do it.
Question, Mr. Creel, the tall Mr. Creel. No offense. So you mentioned all the growth, commercial and residential. When does that come on the tax rolls? They don't all come on the tax rolls in January.
Let me answer that, Jerry.
Go ahead, Mr. New.
Calculation. $20 million might fair price on the Home to Suites. It's a $20 million project?
Yes, sir.
All right. They're still in construction right now. Do we anticipate them being complete by December 2027? No.
No, sir.
Okay. So that means the certificate of occupancy could happen in 2028. Okay? Then they won't come on the tax roll for consideration until 2029.
Right.
That $20 million property turns into $300,000. Assess 15% of that $200,000, $300,000. Put the millage on $300,000 assessed value, and that's coming on. You will see that probably in December of 2029 or 30. That's how this works. And that's, wait a minute, there's a number of other things, to your point. There are things that are coming on board. There are exemptions that are falling off, and there are things that will increase the assessed valuation. $523 million was the assessed valuation that you apply the millage to for our taxing districts. A lot of that is chunked to be reduced for the other the non-bonded, non-restricted millage. We had debt service on paying on projects that we're doing. So there is a schedule, and we could project a schedule, but it's not, it really takes you 3 years. By the time you get a CO, then you got another free year, okay? And then by the time you start collecting on that increase, it's a four-year plan. We can schedule that sort of thing. We built it, working with Jason, an idea of things falling off, that would add to the value of that mill. Right now, the value of the mill, when it talks to debt service, if you do the arithmetic, it was like, 800,000, 805 in June. But then you reduce the dedicated assessed value and it reduces it to like $6.99 per mil for debt service. That increases. I mean, it's not complex, but it takes you have to visualize it. But we're growing. We're growing to the tune of about $15 million last year. So that adds up. And I would say that value will increase and compound at about 2.5 to 2.75. So 2.75 would grow, and then 2.75 on that 2.75. You got a compound situation. That can be scheduled. That's why I'm confident, that we can grow our way, but we got an immediate cash, to stay where we need to be on unrestricted cash or cash equivalent and stay at AA minus, which no other city is, to have that, 15, I think we had like 12 million of unrestricted cash or cash equivalent, and it came out of every audit year. And we stroked that every, making sure that we're in good shape. Again, Mr. President was talking about this one mill will result in, $700,000. Out of the 2.4, that's, that we need to make, revenues equal expenses. And we're hopeful that even, when it comes to vacancies, now we're trying to project where we're going to be in 2027, September 30th. Always. Last year, we finished with 40 vacancies. That was budgeted, that was guessed, that was part of the computation. But, the actuals versus real, actual revenue versus actual expenses have always been favorable. We've never sandbagged, but that's a fact. We've always had sometimes 75 vacancies, right? And so that, this is not all doom and gloom. So we offset, that 2.4 by 7, and it's not going to kill us if we walk in with, $14 million revenues against expenses out of whack. But that's not going to help our cash position. Now, we've got some challenges when it comes to insurance and hospitalizations and those kinds of things. We've done everything we could possibly do to reduce debt service when it's time to refinance, and then also the things with property tax. We saved about $260,000 in property tax last year. You look on your water bill. We've about 4 years ago, Biloxi's part of the utility authority debt is like $102 million. And it's still, that's done way before we were around, and that's all part of the arithmetic. Our utility authority bill to process wastewater and some of those things is about $13 million a year, $14 million a year.
So I get it 1,000%, and I see we're going to grow our way out of it. That's why ripping the Band-Aid off with the full 3 mills at this point in time, to me, is not discipline. And I think we need to amortize it over 3 years, because it's not the citizens' fault that we are where we are, but yet we're putting on our citizens to bring us out of the hole. I think if we need to, A, like Mr. Marshall said, create more economic development, B, we need to be disciplined and responsible with the citizens' money and amortize it over 3 years so that it's more responsible for them, and not to mention for our, let's just say the casinos. You got one that just put $5 million investment into their property, and what do we promise them? We say thank you, everything's good, but I need you to pay 3 more mills, 3 more tax rate. I need you to pay more in taxes, is what we're telling them. I just think we need to be more disciplined with it, and I think we need to discuss it more. We need to educate ourselves so that we can educate the public. I don't think that after October the 1st, this needs to be the last discussion on a millage increase. November, December, January, all the months, we should be discussing it amongst ourselves so that we're better educated and we do not wait until the 11th hour. I was just told in this meeting, this weekend is the deadline. Why didn't we discuss this last month? Why didn't we put this before this council last month? And I think it's by design. I'm just saying, I think the amendment's on the table, we'll vote it up or down, and then we can move on.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, final comment before we vote on the amendment.
Well, again, you know, the arithmetic, 1, 2, or 3, okay? The deficit now that through the workshop was 2.4, that was still some, but you know, I think the upside of the situation at the end of, you know, probably mid-November, we'll know whether our actuals were what were and what we are, so that may be more favorable as far as year-to-date, you know, gain or loss. Use the year-to-date from a prior year to help you do those kinds of things. But it will be reflected in the actual cash. So at this point, you know, it's your decision. It's your decision to make all of these things, especially when it comes to expenses. And you can't do much about revenues except search for courses. We talked about ways that were possible at least 2 years ago. Straightforward, impacts a lot of people, especially when it comes to, you know, go buy a hamburger, everything's going up. Go buy any kind of, it's going up. Obviously, everybody understands that. But then we were trying to, you know, find a way to get a bigger share of what we do. Again, let's talk about things that, you know, probably won't be next year at the legislative situation. But for every $1 million, let's say, talking about growth, how do we grow directly? The way we don't grow directly is those things that those people that generate sales tax for the city of Biloxi. For $1 million of sales, your tax is $70,000 that you pay when you go pay that 7%. It goes to Jackson. Jackson sends us back for every $1 million, $12,900. Does that seem reasonable? So we can get a better diversion. The same thing with internet sales tax. Instead of that $12,000, it gets to be like 11,000, 15%. There are ways to get a better share. We're generating a lot of business, just like the gaming. $133 million was paid by those people, and they pay a heavy-duty share. But where was the of the $133 million? 88 went to Jackson.
Okay. Mr. Mayor.
Now, we support all of these. Excuse me. I'm good. So that you get the point.
I was going to say talk quicker, but I don't know if that's possible. Okay.
No, we can't leave it at that because every city goes to the same problem.
No,
So,
every city does not go
I mean,
through
the
that.
tax rate is different for every city.
Come on.
Okay.
But that's not-
Okay, we're on,
That's
excuse me,
7%.
gentlemen,
No,
excuse
sir.
me, gentlemen,
That's
excuse me,
7%.
gentlemen. We're on item B. We've gotten to item B. We've got an amendment on the floor. I think we've flattened the rabbit. No disrespect. We're moving on. All right, if the clerk would read the amendment, please. The amendment was to reduce the mill that's to be published in the notice from 3 mills to 1 mill. Is that accurate, Peter? Does that make sense? Okay.
Correct.
So we have a motion by Mr. Creel and a second by Mr. Gray. All in favor of the amendment to reduce the mills advertised from 3 to 1? Raise your hand. All opposed? Okay. So it passes. The millage will be reduced in the public notice from 3 mills to 1 mill. All right. Now we have to vote. Kenny, right?
And make sure you vote on it as amended.
Now we have to vote on the resolution as amended. All in favor? All opposed? It's approved as amended on a 5-2 vote. Tisdale and Shoemaker in opposition. Did you get those in opposition earlier? Okay. All right, that brings us to item C. If the clerk would read that, please.
Excuse me, resolution denying reduction of facility rental fees regarding facility rental agreement with Miss Senior World Cares for the Biloxi Civic Center.
All right, I will entertain a motion. This is a motion to deny.
I'll motion it for discussion.
So there's a motion by Mr. Creel for discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Gray will second it. Mr. Creel?
So I'm looking to see,
Get close to you, Mike.
based on last year, it looks like we did the 50% reduction in last year's proposal, 7,450 with the reduction of 3,500. I believe the total revenue generated was 3,950 based on the rental agreement alone. So this has been done in November, so which would be after October the 1st. I know I had discussed with Director Lee going forward on possibly adjusting our rental agreements in order for them to make sense. And I say that because if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And I think there's several of our facilities that we're not making dollars. And so with that being said, if there's a way we could possibly table this subject to call while we revisit our rental agreements rather than to completely deny it. I know we did it last year. I wish there was a way we could have geo-fenced the revenue to see what it actually entailed. Ms. Stroker, did you actually, you wouldn't happen to have any information from coastal Mississippi on any kind of total revenues that your event brought to the city last year?
Ms. Stroker, excuse me, if you would come to the mic so the world can hear.
And what I mean by, I know there's a coastal Mississippi on events such as this, they'll come in and they'll do a geofence, so to speak, or they'll do something on the total revenues, ancillary revenues that were generated by your group. And I was just wondering, was any of that done? Was there any information on that?
I know that at one point we brought in over $122,000 last year. We also booked the entire Hotel Legends. We booked that out and other facilities, as well as hospitality.
Okay, and do you receive any financial assistance from coastal Mississippi at all?
Coastal Mississippi, I'm meeting with them Thursday. Up until this year, I pretty much have been self-supportive, started the pageant. This year, Ocean Springs Chamber is awarding me $2,500. Scarlet Pearl awards $500. I'm meeting with Coastal Mississippi, and the Chamber, Biloxi Chamber of Commerce has come on board to support us as well financially. But most of our money is raised through the contestants. We have online People's Choice voting and other avenues. A lot of the products that we get are in kind here in Biloxi. We need financial sponsors, but if not, we get them in kind. But we generally average, in November being a slow period of time for that 10 days, we bring anywhere from 150 to 200,000 that week.
Okay, and you do have a room block with Legends currently?
Absolutely. Yes, we have been there for 5 years. This is also our 5th year at the Civic Center. And the reason people say, why don't you go somewhere else where it's more affordable than the Civic Center? Well, we need dressing rooms. We have 50 women with 4 outfits, and there's no other place on the coast that has dressing rooms. You can go to Frank Grich, is a beautiful facility. There are no dressing rooms. These women come with $10,000 wardrobes, and you can't put them in the hallway, or you can't put a pipe and drape outside. So we love the Civic Center. We also host our Queen's Gala there. This year, Luann Pappas is our guest speaker. We sell tickets to the dinner. We also have our workshops there that we bring in people and vendors. So I'm a small organization, but we're doing great things. And our contestants throughout the United States, they bring in financial dollars through selling ads, as you see in the program book.
Okay, so question is, do you, Director Lee, do you have the specifics of her event, of dates? I know the dates, but times and as such?
I do not have the specifics. If they're similar to last year, we could base them off last year's contracts. We do have that, but I do not have accessible to that as of right now.
Okay, and so that's why I was asking if we could table it subject to call, just so we could, rather than just, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. I appreciate you coming to Biloxi, and And like I said, we accommodated it last year, especially with the room blocks, and Coastal Mississippi should be able to assist, especially with that room block. But I would rather look at another path that we're looking going forward to see implement an organization such as this into the new plan, so to speak, and see what it would look like, and then we could possibly revisit it then. Would you be okay with that if you give us a week?
Sure, absolutely, I appreciate it.
As long as my colleagues would agree with me. I'm just, and that's the reason why I'm only doing this is, I know I'm looking at right now, and just to show you where we are, okay? So, in those, I see a lot of non-departmentals in here today, but I just want to let you know, and this is just, that was done through our contracts, not necessarily, I know it's been turned over to Director Lee, but through, let's just say, August 15th, the total rental fees were $154,090, right? We have waived and/or discount $115,000, bringing our revenues in for our facility rentals only to $40,000. And that's this fiscal year. So understand what we're looking at here. We're not trying to, profit's not a dirty word, but at the same time, we're not trying to, we want to accommodate you. We want your event here, and we want to make it happen. If you will just give us a week to massage it and to look at it, to see what we can do to assist you, to encourage your event to stay.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not a large amount. It's about 3,500 reduction, but that helps me. We have helped build 2 sustainable homes in Alabama and Tennessee for homes for our troops.
Right. Yes,
we
ma'am.
have also given money, $2,000 to the Autism Center of Mississippi, and $2,000 this year to Celebrate Recovery for Teens.
So you could have gotten everything you wanted had you said you built 2 homes in East Biloxi.
I'm open to that. Let's do it.
I'm just saying. But if my colleagues would support me in tabling this for a week so that we could look at it and possibly revisit it for next meeting, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. And Jamie knows what we do. It's a great organization.
Mr. Gray, you made the second. Any comments? Any other
I
comments?
agree with Mr. Krill.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the
Yes, I
council?
do.
Go ahead, Mr. Marshall.
This gets us back to that rabbit we flattening. Yeah, I'm gonna flatten it a little bit more. The reason why we are a tourist city. That's what Biloxi is known for. But we can't do tourism events because we can't afford it. But yet we're here, we're not broke. What you're doing actually bringing people here to spend money. They're gonna eat here. They're not gonna just eat at McDonald's. They're gonna go to some nice restaurants. I know when I go somewhere with my wife, I cannot take her to McDonald's. She wants to go to somewhere nice, somewhere different, somewhere that's not where she can go and see. The same thing up the street. We're going to eat it. So what we're doing is that every small business in the Rue Marché, downtown Biloxi, that even though we're going to fill that hotel, we're not going to help them to go to all those restaurants, Scoops, down at an ice cream place. All those places are going to see business from this. That brings in revenue. We're going to now try to save, what, $3,500. We're going to cost them all this other money. That makes no sense. That makes no sense, but we're in that bad of an economic shape that this is what we're facing. And we're gonna say, whose fault is it? It's not these guys' fault, the directors. It's not Mr. and Mrs. Biloxi's fault. Let's just be honest. You should not have to ask us for this. We should be begging you to bring your people here, fill that hotel up, hit those restaurants up, go down and just the revenue from the hotels alone is going to be more than $3,500 from there. They got to get gas. They got to go to the Walmart. Everybody makes a penny.
You see the big picture, yes. Yes.
I believe other people see the big picture too, but I just don't understand. The definition of insanity just keeps coming to my head.
We give our contestants swag bags with every restaurant to attend. Tell them you're with Miss Senior World. We give them tickets to go to the aquarium, to visit all of the things around it. And these women are ages 50 to 69. This is our senior community that we're bringing in here, senior women and their families. And I think it's a shame that we can't, by giving back to us, to build this up to something. This is the only organization in Mississippi like it. We're 5-star rated. We're the #1 senior organization in the world. for senior women. You can go to our website, is www.seniorworldpageants.com, and our Facebook site. So we're a big deal, and we want you to reap the benefits as well, because these people are coming in, and as I said, they come back to purchase homes. They bring their children, their grandchildren for vacation. Every year, this is hosted in November, and every year, more and more people are coming. We pack the Civic Center.
Thank you, Ms. Stroker.
Thank you, ma'am. I apologize, ma'am.
All right, there was a motion and a second for discussion purposes. We've discussed that. I think, did you have a motion to make?
Motion
Mr.
to
Creel?
table it for 1 week, we could bring it back. And while we're at it, if we could, I don't know if it's proper at this time to add policy D as well, 4D. It's in the same category as denying the reduction of facility rental, so that way we could table these for a week to massage it into and come back next week with.
All right, so if I understand you correctly, all right, we're looking at two different resolutions.
C and D, right?
C and D. We're not going to do them together. We're going to do them separately.
That's right. All right.
There's a motion by Mr. Creel to table item C, subject to call. Is there a second?
Just for 1 week.
Okay.
1 week.
Table for 1 week. And there's a second by Mr. Gray. Any discussion?
No discussion.
All right, all in favor of tabling this item for 1 week? It's approved on a 6-0 vote. If the clerk would note that Mr. Glavin is out of the room. Thank you. All right, if the clerk would read item D, please.
Resolution denying reduction of facility rental fees regarding facility rental agreement with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for the Biloxi Civic Center.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
By Mr. Creel, is there a second? Second by Mr. Gray.
I'd like to include this as an amendment to table it for 1 week.
Is anyone here representing them? League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Are you an extraordinary gentleman? Please step forward.
Please.
That's my man, Gene.
Mr. President, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's my man,
Come
Gene.
forward.
Just in discussion on this, Mr. President, is last year we did, it was a $6,000 rental, 50% reduction, so it was a $3,000 discount with $3,000. And this year, I believe, if it's a little bit more in rental, but within still asking the 50% reduction. And this is similar to the item C. All I'm looking for is give us a week to massage it, to look at it under the new parameters that were discussed with Director Lee, and so we can have a better understanding of what we would look at going forward with new policies that he's looking at implementing.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Mr. Gray, do you have a comment? None. All right, there's a motion and a second to table this item for 1
I'd like to
week.
know, if you don't mind, sir, I'd like to find out who they are and what they do, and how is this going to help our
Sure,
city?
go ahead. If we can do this briefly, we got a long agenda. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll be brief. I know Mr. Creel. Nice to see you. We've been doing this. We have a nonprofit organization that we brought from Mossville, Mississippi to Biloxi 8 years ago. My name is Gene Hunt. I'm here on the behalf of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I am the COO of this company. We are a Mississippi-based 501c3 nonprofit organization founded in 2009. For more than 16 years, the League have worked and strengthened communities along the Gulf Coast through mentorship, scholarships, community outreach, and service. We are a 100% voluntary-led organization with no paid employees or officers. We'll just narrow this down. It's a lot here. The city has been providing a 50% nonprofit discount on the facility rental, which has changed this year, which is why we are here. Our relationship with Biloxi extends beyond simply renting out the Civic Center. Each year, we work with partnership with the Biloxi Police Department and Fire Department to provide the appropriate security, fire protection, and safety over our guests. We take very seriously to responsibility to host a safe and professionally managed philanthropy event. This event also brings hundreds of attendees to Biloxi, including guests traveling from outside the immediate area. We had guests from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, and just along different areas of the city, to the hotels, restaurants, and entertainment venues. The 50% discount allows our voluntary nonprofit organization to direct more funds raised toward the intended purpose: scholarships, youth mentorship, and community outreach. And we believe that this represents a mutually beneficial partnership to the city.
All right, thank you, sir. What I'm saying is nothing against you guys. Matter of fact, I appreciate what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're making it easy for that man and his people to have to deal with the same people you're helping. You're directing them away from the other part of his job. You're asking him, say, we're going to use his services. We have to use his services, not chasing down criminals or guys that they didn't have an opportunity, but help you to meet you halfway so that you won't have to deal with them on the flip side. In other words, in the jailhouses. So you're actually not costing us any money in this city. You're actually helping us.
It's not free service. We're actually paying them, so we actually giving back to Biloxi as well.
And then on top of all of that, you're going to eat over here, right? They're going to eat over this area. They're going
Absolutely.
Some people come out of town, stay in hotels and everything else.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
Sold out every year. 8 years.
8 years you've been doing it. It makes sense to me that we should be helping people just like you. However, for some reason or another, as I said before, the definition of insanity keeps coming to my head. Thank you, sir.
No
So
problem.
quick question, is there a hotel room block? Do you use a specific hotel or?
The casinos are sold out. We directly push the casino narrative.
So the only reason I was asking is simply because Coastal Mississippi, and I keep pushing you to Coastal Mississippi because 501c3, they have a grant program, and through the grants that you can ask for them, one thing that they require is a room block. So, and that's how they're funded. They're funded with a hotel tax. So if you could secure a room block at a neighboring hotel, for example, the Hilton Garden Inn, and direct your people there, when you go and apply for your grant through Coastal Mississippi, they ask, is there room blocks associated with your event? You can include that, and it would help you in a checklist that they use. Just food for thought.
Right, I appreciate that. Like, that's something that we never knew about. Like I said,
Absolutely.
we push everything from our own pockets.
Yeah, we're gonna look at this, and I hate to bring you back in a week, but actually, you're good. Since we're here right now, we'll make the decision for you next week. It's just we want to use this model that you have right now to see what it looks like in the future model, and then we can get right back with you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, very much for that information. All right, there's a motion and a second to table this item for 1 week. Any other questions? All in favor? It's approved on a 7-0 vote. Thank you, gentlemen. That brings us to item E. If the clerk would read item E.
Resolution adopting ethics policy and procedures for the city of Biloxi.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Glavin. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Glavin, before we have questions, Peter, would you like to kind of explain why this is on the agenda?
Yeah, this is, it's a policy and procedure manual for the city to adopt based on the prior audit report that just occurred, where the auditors noted as one of their findings is that the city should have documentation of adopted procurement policies and procedures. And so we took a lot of recommendations, a state procurement contract, along with some Mississippi Ethics Commission guidelines, and put this together. And it will be, if approved, it'll be formally ratified and basically put into the minutes is what we're looking to have done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Abad. Mr. Glavin, comments?
No, I mean, I echo our counselor's description of this. I think it's good to have this policy. It preserves the integrity of, doing business, especially aligning with federal and state and different contracts. So I agree with Mr. Abad.
Mr. Creel, comment?
Yeah, I concur with everything that was said, especially when it's mentioned in our audit that it's something we need to adopt going forward with federal guidelines. So Appreciate the detailed, consistent of it, and look forward to working with amongst it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Creel. Any other comments?
None.
There being none, all in favor of the resolution as presented? That's approved on a 6-0 vote. If the clerk would note that Mr. Marshall was out of the room. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Creel. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Gray. All right, Mr. Creel.
Okay, so real quick on a few questions on item A. I would like to start by saying that I believe this employee does exemplary work. It's unfortunate that I was unaware she retired. I welcome her back. I believe we confirmed this employee back in July of last year. And with that being said, unfortunately, our confirmation did not afford us the opportunity of being told that she retired. I wished her well in her retirement. I see she's back under our City of Biloxi retiree return to work policy. Just a couple questions on this. This designation of municipal clerk, does it come with a stipend? Does it come with a pay?
No.
No pay, no stipend, okay. The only other question I have with that, I know it's not civil service. There's no civil service protection with this designation, and I know that the retirees that come back to work also don't have that civil service protection. The issue the question I wanted to raise is, this is a temporary employee. Can the temporary employee hold this municipal clerk designation? According to our ordinance, chapter 15, I just wanted to make sure if we got that clarification. It says the clerk of council, deputy clerk, and the council assistant deputy clerk is not a civil service. But then it further, 15.3-2, says a career service shall be a permanent service to which this article shall apply and shall comprise all positions of employment in the city's service now existing or here thereafter established, except the following. Persons employed by contract, which all the return to work people obviously are signing this contractual agreement. So it says persons employed by contract to make or conduct a temporary or special inquiry, investigation, or examination on behalf of the city council or mayor. Persons employed part-time temporarily or for emergencies as provided for in this article. And there's a comma after part-time. It's not a temporary part-time, it's part-time, comma, temporarily. So my only question is, I'm all for Ms. Thacker. I think she does a great job. She's a true asset to the city of Biloxi. My question is when it comes to our own policies and ordinances, can a temporary employee hold the municipal clerk? And if not, maybe we need to change our ordinance so that someone in her capacity can, since this is new legislation. New legislation that just took force for July 1st that we adopted on May 25th, making these return to work employees temporary employees. But then we didn't, if we're going to do the designation of her being a municipal clerk, which I'm all for 1,000%, the only problem or issue I have is in our own ordinance, it states that we can't have a temporary employee serve as the, have the designation. I'm willing to figure out how we can amend that to assist in this designation, because I believe in her efforts, I believe in her talents, and I believe in what she can do, although she is, her longevity was forfeited when she retired, but welcome her back with open arms because she is a valued employee. I just want to make sure that we're following our own ordinance.
Did you follow that, Mr. Abad?
Yeah, I would have appreciated that question before right now, but
I brought it up last week in the, but when we were questioning this before, and we haven't had any further discussion on it, so I didn't know until I saw the agenda.
all right. I mean, she came back as a
Admin 3.
admin 3.
which, according to our own return to work policy, she needed to come back at a vacant position, and I don't know if we posted it as a vacant position or accepted applications. But with that being said, that's totally different. She's back now. She waited 30 days, 100% compliant. My question is on the temporary designation and the and having the task and the designation of municipal clerk, which I hope we can fix so that we can do that.
You need some time, Mr. Abott, a few minutes. We can look at other items on the consent agenda and come back to this if you like.
That'd be fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Do we need to look at tabling this?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves just for a moment. Let Mr. Abott do some research. We'll move on to other consent agenda items, and then we'll come back to this and hear what he has to say.
all right, the only other issue I have, or question rather, would be on item G, if I'm reading this correct. The 147,000 that's remaining out of the balance from the grant for the Keesler Gate on Division Street, we're going to pay that back to MDA, or is there?
And that was the, outside the gate was remaining. We're told, again, when Rachel was indicating with Sarah, I believe, that was Christie. Anyway, that was to be, we could use it or not. And we haven't spent any money, but we will to do a few of those little items to concrete it. But, I don't think we'll exceed, I don't think we'll use all $147,000 of it.
So, the way I read this is we're rescinding the resolution, so we're actually paying back the 147,000 to MDA.
No.
Resolution that originally authorized the repayment back to MDA.
Okay, so we're not going to pay it back.
That's correct.
The state had asked us not to. They asked us to spend the money, and I think that's Rachel cleaning up a previous resolution that said we were going to pay it back.
Oh, got it. I just wanted to make sure that we were not forfeiting that money, because I know when Rachel was here, there was no definitive date of when we had to spend it. We just needed to spend it. Right, yeah. Okay, and then last on item W, the new trust system, that's the 35,000. Is that budgeted already with that we've already done?
Yeah, that's part of the 95 that was passed.
Okay, that's all that.
That's the trusses, the 40-foot trusses, 3, and then automate, the electric motors.
Instead of manual? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Done, Mr. Creel? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Anything?
Yeah, I won't get back. Item D. Is any bond money, this $16 million bond money going to be used on this? I know it's saying it's not, but I'm asking that question.
On what, the Sanger?
No.
Item D.
On the Shriners Boulevard infrastructure improvements.
So this is just a Gulf Coast Restoration grant application. So if we get this grant, then none of the bond money will be spent on this. This is just, we're looking for all the revenues, opportunities for revenue to pay our match for the MDOT grant.
So if we don't get the grant, then
there's a possibility that the bond money may be used to pay for that match.
Christie, is your mic on? Okay. You may have to get a little closer.
And it's same thing with F on the dredge in Brazier Bayou. So that's not going to be any bond money used for that one either?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Or did we started doing anything for the roofs to get pricing on the roofs for when the bond money comes in? Get ahead of the ball game?
Okay, we met with Machado Patano and looked at ways to things that can be grouped, because there's a lot of little items and a lot of, if you had all the roofs and had one contract, we probably would get a better, quote on doing all, if there are 5 roofs or 3 roofs or whatever, let one, put one bid to handle all those roofs. and trying to do as many of those things, and Machado Patano have been advising us on how to proceed with that.
I know Chief Everett probably glad to walk around without an umbrella. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Mr. Marshall?
Yeah, following up on the roof situation, because it kind of intrigued me when you said they got all the different 4 or 5 roofs. We have a roof over in the, Councilman Nails. Is that included in there? Because we need to get it fixed.
What roof specifically are you?
The library?
The West Biloxi Library?
Yes.
I think it was. There was 300,000 in the list, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly yet what roof.
Or 160,000. I'm not sure what it was.
It's on, we're still in the planning stages of exactly what that bond money is going to be spent on. You know, we've had those discussions. That is on a preliminary list. Those final decisions have not been made. That'll come back to y'all before we do any project.
Well, I'm trying to make sure that you do get a quote for the roof.
Yeah, we have a quote.
What is that quote?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
160,000 or something like that.
We got a quote for like, one of them was really low and one of them was like in the $300,000 range. So that's why we're not going out and re-quoting this yet. We're trying to package all this together and see what all we're going to do, what's going to be covered in the bond, and see if we can't get better prices on some of this.
Okay. Could you keep me and Mr. Nail notified of what's going on with that? Because I'm still getting phone calls about that library.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Mr. Marshall?
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it, though.
Mr. Nail, any comments?
I have nothing on here.
Thank you. Mr. Creel, anything? Mr. Glavin, anything?
No, y'all covered the main ones. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shoemaker, anything? And I have nothing. Peter?
Yeah, I've got.
All right, we're going back to the first item, dealing with the municipal clerk. Go ahead, Peter.
All right, looking through our ordinance and the state statute, it lays out that the mayor has the right to appoint the clerk, subject to confirmation by the council. She is an at-will employee as she came back. The clerk also serves at the pleasure of the council and the mayor as well. I don't see any prohibition for a right-to-work employee to not be eligible to be appointed by the mayor as a municipal clerk.
1,000%.
Right.
However, the at-will is where you stop and where this contract picks up. This contract that she signed when she came back passes past the at-will, because when she signed this, the mayor signed it, and the director, the mayor, department director, CAO signed it. It stated that she came back, all retirees re-employed under this program will not have Silver Surge protection, will be considered an at-will employee.
Right.
However, it further states, subject to release from contract or agreement with review from the department director appointing authority, positions filled under this program will be considered as a temporary employment. And then they sign a contractual agreement. So she's a temporary contractual employee under 15.3 that states that she can't hold that position. What I would like to do, in its infinite wisdom, is rescind this resolution that we did on May the 25th so that we don't have this contract enforced, and let's let PERS determine if they've met the qualifications for bona fide separation of employment. Let's let PERS figure out all the things they need, and then we just hire employees back rather than them have come in and sign this contract. I think we had good intentions with the contract, but I think the contract, we're going outside of what we put in this contract by rehiring some of these employees. So either A, I would be in favor of rescinding the resolution from May 25th, or B, amending the ordinance 15.3-2 to include a return to work employee under the new policy that we adopted. That way it's clear, and because this is new, it's July the 1st, if we put in this 15-3-2, return to work employees, however we want to say it, can be designated as municipal clerks And even though our contract says they're a temporary employee, they're really not. I think that's what we need to clarify. I'm all for Ms. Thacker doing the job that she's done for many years. She's a very, very thorough person and does a great job. I just don't want, I just want it to be straight and black and white. I mean, I know what the state statute says, but July 1st, we incorporated something else and then adopted something on May 25th. That contradicts what we're doing today and what's in our ordinance.
Peter, she signs a contract for a year. She signs, all these retirees that come back to work sign a contract for a year. Is that correct?
No, they sign up for 4 years.
It's renewable every year.
Only the directors, only the ones that are ratified are renewed every year. Any retired, a re-employed retiree in a rank-tested supervisory role will be required to fulfill the same requirements, but we limit it to a maximum of 4-year agreements.
4-year agreements. My understanding of that, correct me if I'm wrong, is...
Once they have completed the 4th year, the department director can request up to 2.
But don't they sign a 1-year agreement every year? And they can receive that agreement or sign that agreement. It's only good for a year, and they can do that a maximum of 4 times. Is that, do I understand that correctly?
That's right. And
So where's the agreement at?
And that's something we put in place.
Wait just a moment. Go ahead.
no, I'd recommend let's table this for a week and let me get some clarification for y'all.
All right, clarifying.
I got a question.
Yeah, I got something to say too.
All right, Mr. Gray.
Does all of our temporary employees get longevity pay?
When they come back,
Does all of our employees, temporary employees, get longevity pay? Because if we bring these employees back and they're temporary employees, do they get their longevity? Or do we give it to all our temporary employees? Is that something we need to look at?
we need to look at the longevity people now were grandfathered in that did not come back. But that's something to be looked at going forward. But as far as specific employee, I really need to dig into that a little bit. I'm not sure. I know like for example, there's a waiting period for insurance that they're not on. Some of them are paying COBRA while that's going on, but they are an at-will employee. They don't get, anybody that came back is not getting any benefits that someone new coming in could get.
But, yeah, to answer your question, it says seniority and accrued leave reset. All prior seniority is forfeited. So that's the biggest thing that we have to entertain is these guys are retired. They are severed from the city of Biloxi.
Right.
On the 30th day, after 30 days, they're eligible to reapply for vacant positions. And once they're rehired, they're day one. Longevity pay should not be included in that pay. Should not be. I don't know if we are, but according to what we put in place and attached as an exhibit, they are day one employees when they come back.
Peter,
But
that's all I have.
Excuse me,
That's
Peter,
why I-
could you check on that as
Yeah,
well?
and I'll check on that too, but it is, the longevity talks about if you leave for any other reason and come back, there are some mechanisms where it might be available to them. So I don't know the exact details of that yet.
Right, but if they come back as a full-time employee, that's not really described right in the ordinance or the policy, correct? Because we never had nobody leave and come back as a temporary.
Well, no, this has never happened until July.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. You had a question on this topic.
Yeah, this, to be clear, this just seems like it was done kind of haphazardly or tacky or something. I know that the person that we're talking about is a stellar employee, honorable, and this should have been treated better for her because I know her personally. I know her. I've been working with her since I've been here. I knew her before I even got here. She's the type of people we need. But this process is not good. Thank you.
All right, so do I hear a motion I believe, to table this at the, as the attorney has advised, in order for him to do more research on this item 5A. Is there a motion?
Motion to table it for 1 week?
Yes.
All right.
Second.
Discussion.
Give me just a moment, please. All right, discussion. Anything further, Mr. Gray, or comment, or Mr. Creel? I assume not. Go ahead, Mr. Clavin.
No, this just sets a precedent for all the employees that are going to retire and come back.
Understand.
So this is part of the low morale, some of the stuff that's been brought up, and wanted that question answered.
Sure.
So that's it.
Any other discussion? All right, there being none, we'll vote on this right now, Carrie, okay? So this is item 5A, a resolution appointing the municipal clerk. There's a motion and second to table it for 1 week. All in favor of the amendment? Excuse me, I'm in favor of the tabling. That was approved on a 7-0 vote. Thank you. All right, I don't believe we have any more questions on the consent agenda, do we? Anybody have any questions? All right. And I'll come back for exceptions in just a moment. All in favor of the resolutions under the consent agenda as amended, please signify by raising your hand. All in favor? And all in opposition? We'll get close to the mic. I want the world to hear this.
Abstain.
All right, we have an abstention by Mr. Marshall. All right, exceptions. Yes, thank you. Any exceptions, Mr. Gray? Mr. Marshall, any exceptions?
He abstained.
Mr. Nail?
None.
No exceptions.
Mr. Glavin?
I have none.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. And I have no exceptions. All right, that brings us to code enforcement hearings. Mr. Creel?
Ms. Ramage.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So you're going to be doing this every week?
Mostly.
All right. So you're the A team or the B team? You're the A team now, okay.
She will do the day meetings, and I'll do the one-night meetings.
Okay.
She has kids.
All right, code enforcement hearings. Present item A, please.
Item A, 363 Bowen Street. This property is still in violation.
All right, is Julie Smith or anyone representing Ms. Smith here to speak on 363 Bowen Street? Anyone here to speak on behalf of 363 Bowen Street? There being none, this hearing is closed. Item B, please.
Item B, 386 Pearl Street. The violations have been resolved. Item C, 321 Benaki. The violations have been resolved. Item D, 1530 Collins Circle. The violations have been resolved. Item E, 396 Shell Street. This property is still in violation.
Is Andy Day or anyone here representing Andy Day present to speak on the matter of 396 Shell Street? Anyone? There being no one, this hearing is closed.
Item F, 152 Pine Street. The violations have been resolved.
Do you want to take a crack at that name?
No, sir.
Okay. Next item, please.
Item G, 119 First Street. The violations have been resolved. H, 384 Crawford Street. The violations have been resolved. And item I, 261 Keller Avenue. The violations have been resolved.
All right, thank you. So we had 2 violations out of 9. You're doing better than the person who usually does this. Keep up the good work. All right, that brings us to the routine agenda.
So moved.
I'll entertain a motion by Mr. Creel.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Nail. Any discussion, comments, Mr. Creel?
Yes, please mark me abstaining from the Curry Johnson invoices.
Okay, clerk, get that note. Thank you. Mr. Nail, any comments?
I have none.
All right, any councilman have any comments on the routine agenda? All right, all those in favor of the routine agenda as presented? It's approved on a 7-0 vote. Thank you, gentlemen.
You have an extension on that.
I'll entertain finally a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Kim Baldwin. She went to Biloxi High School, and she was well thought of in our community.
What is her name again, Kim?
Kim Baldwin. Her husband was Mark. Amanda was one of her daughters. And she had 2 daughters, and just beautiful family. She succumbed to cancer.
All right, sorry to hear that. So there's a motion by Mr. Glavin to adjourn in memory of Kim Baldwin. I assume we'll all second that. Did you have another addition?
I did have another one, and thank you, Councilman Glavin, for reminding me of for Mr. Ori Lee Cron, who passed away. His son-in-law, Gary Thibodeau, longtime fireman, and his daughter was administrator for Biloxi school system. Mr. Ori was 86 years old, who passed away. I'd like to include him as well in the adjournment.
That's Ori, O-R-E-Y, Lee, L-E-E, Cron, K-R-O-H-N.
Correct.
All right, so that motion was also, I'll share that between the two with Mr. Glavin and Mr. Creel. The rest of us will second that. All in favor of adjourning in memory of those individuals? All right, that's approved on a 7-0 vote. Okay, it is 4:31. We're going to take a brief recess. We'll start again in 9 minutes at 4:40. Thank you.